lo que hago. Entonces yo creo que es una base esencial para el éxito, hacer algo que te gusta. Y bueno, pues me gusta ser diferente a lo demás. Hablo en el sentido de que si hago algo, me gusta cambiarlo para que sea único y lo único te haga original. Yo empecé a jugar Free Fire como hace 3 años. Entonces cuando mi amiga me lo enseñó, dije, esto no solo es un juego, yo creo que esto es una comunidad.
So I started a while back, I will say like 3 years ago. I was talking to a friend and he was like, I'm gonna go play Free Fire. And I was like, what is that? Do you play an Xbox or PlayStation? He's like, no, it's a mobile game. So I downloaded it, and ever since I'm still playing it, and I became a Free Fire influencer.
I started playing this game during COVID with my son. We were locked at home, and so we decided my son wanted to start streaming video games. So I was like, well, I'll do it with you together. At that time, he was just 13 and moving into 14 years old. And so I thought, as a dad, the responsible thing to do would be to play games with my son. So he ended up playing a couple different games, and then one day he played Free Fire about a year ago. And something crazy happened. First day he played it, 900 people watching live on Facebook. The next day, 700 people watching live. And we're like, we should play Free Fire.
Actually, I picked up the game back in 2020, a little bit after the money heist had been a thing. I started actually moderating and helping with the Discord server, which actually got me a little bit more into the game, and here I am. I love the game, I love the ideas with skins, I love the collaborations with animes. It's one of my favorite things, to be honest.
What do I love about Free Fire? Listen, my favorite thing about Free Fire, I love the game, I love the game modes.
In general, I just like it, but I really like playing Clash Squad.
I love Clash Squad without a question. Best game mode ever. So I stayed with Free Fire. That's why I fell in love with Free Fire, was Clash Squad. I love playing Clash Squad ranked. I love just goofing around in some unranked matches. But what I love about Free Fire the most is the fans, the community. There's just something about it.
I love mostly the community. That is definitely my top one. The fact that I've met people from different countries, from the Caribbean, from Canada, that I've never ever thought I would ever meet, and that is one of the most awesome experiences that you can basically have here in Free Fire.
Está cool entrar a un lugar al que no conocías el ambiente, y créanme que en esta comunidad hay gente muy buena que se puede llegar a ser muy importante en tu vida. Por eso me gustó Free.
Feels like Free Fire is versus the world, versus all the other games out there, because it's not as well known in some regions of the world as it is in others, but we're just all in it together. We love this game. We love what's going on as they can continue to expand the game, and we're in it as a family and a community, and that's what I love about Free Fire.
This game is amazing.
My journey with Free Fire as a content creator has been crazy.
It has been a hell of a journey, and not in a bad way.
Well, it's been great.
And it was slow at first, I'll be honest. It was slow at first, and then all of a sudden something happened about Thanksgiving time in the US in mid-November, late November, and for some reason people liked to watch me play, and my audience, it took off. And by Christmas I had about 60,000 people follow me, somewhere around there, and I got a message on Facebook from someone at Green that said, we'd like to talk to you about being an influencer for the game. Kind of thought it was a scam, but sure enough, I followed up with it. It seemed legit because the email seemed legit. And next thing you know, I become a Free Fire influencer, part of the Free Fire influencer program in North America. And it has been wild ever since.
I never thought I would ever be in this position where I would have people loving what I do, loving my content, having them show up into my streams and cheering for me and just being there as a support. It's amazing.
Yo digo que mi experiencia con Free a base de creador ha sido muy buena, ya que la he disfrutado mucho, he estado muy contenta con lo que he hecho y la gente me ha traído una aceptación muy buena.
The love and support from my followers has been there, and I've been getting a lot of new followers. I had this great opportunity to be a Free Fire influencer, and yeah, it's been pretty great.
It's just amazing. I have gone from Twitch to YouTube to other platforms, TikTok, Instagram, and every single one has its own unique group of supporters that I would never trade for anything.
Yo sé que a veces a la gente no le parece al 100% lo que haces, no sé, a veces no le gustan tus videos o no sé, pero yo sé que si hay 10 personas, hay 2 personas que no les gustan y a las otras 8 les gusta, entonces por eso me motivo mucho yo misma.
Now I have over 400,000 followers across the globe, and I'm loving Free Fire. So my experience, it was slow at first, and then it has skyrocketed from there, and it's been great. I love Free Fire, I love the community.
A very cute memory that I have right there. It's like a video from like 2 years ago, and we're playing, I believe it's Battle Royale, and we're like all laying down like snakes, and we're just walking through like the whole map like that.
I think one of my favorite memories playing this game was that one time that I streamed a couple months ago, and I was struggling to be able to play correctly. I was struggling to learn how to put a glue wall down, and instead of actually having people be like, oh, you're not good at the game, they were actually helping me to try to do better. And that's one thing that I love. The community knows that I'm still learning, but the fact that they actually have patience to teach me, do this, don't do that, or if you're doing this, try it this way. It's amazing, you know? And when I was streaming that one time, the fact that people were there teaching me properly how to play this game is definitely one of the best memories that I've had.
Una de mis mayores experiencias es darme a conocer con la gente. Créanme que nunca me imaginé poder llegar a hacerlo, pero algún día los sueños se cumplen. También yo creo que algo muy importante en mi vida fue conocer a gente que ahora en estos momentos es muy importante y me han traído mensajes muy buenos a mi vida.
My fondest experience with Free Fire, hands down to this point, has been Free Fire took me as an influencer to New York City, to the McLaren and Free Fire collaboration event. We were down on Pier 76. There was this beautiful $400,000 McLaren car. We had fans come in. We were able to shoot these little air Nerf guns at targets. We were able to draw on these skateboards that I have now in my office, and it was just awesome. We were able to get redeem codes to give away to fans, see the McLaren, take some pictures. It was just awesome being in New York City with Free Fire, with McLaren, and with other influencers, getting to know people that I've played with for months but never got to meet in person, and that was hands down my favorite experience with Free Fire so far.
Well, you know, every time I meet a milestone, whether it's on YouTube or on Twitch or TikTok, I am always and forever going to be grateful to the Free Fire community. I would not be here without you guys. And I thank you very much for supporting me every time I go live, every time I post a video or a TikTok. You guys are always there to support, and I always and forever will appreciate that. You guys don't know how much this means to me, and it honestly means life, basically. Everything. And I appreciate your attention, and I appreciate your support, and I will always be thankful for that.
Well, thank you guys so much for the love and support, and I am here for you guys too.
Y bueno, pues el único mensaje que le tengo que decir a Free Fire, a la comunidad, es que disfruten el juego, diviértanse, conozcan gente nueva. Y bueno, pues los sueños se pueden llegar a cumplir algún día. Propónganselo y créanme que lo pueden cumplir.
Listen, Free Fire's not done yet. I'm just getting warmed up. I haven't even played this game for a year yet. I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary about the same time as the 4-year anniversary for Free Fire, and I'm excited, but I'm just joining this ride. And so I am excited to see where the next year goes, and I want to see it with you guys. I want to continue to experience Free Fire with what I call my virtual family, my fans across the globe. where we become a family that plays this game together. We laugh, we cry together, and we celebrate the ups and downs as we go through the future. And so I say stay with Free Fire, stay with us in this community, and let's see where we can get this game as we move forward.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're watching around the world. Welcome. It is time for the Free Fire Anniversary Showdown. My name is Toppies. I am joined here by the intrepid Hypoc. He is going to be giving us all the breakdowns on exactly how to handle Battle Royale and take it to the next level. Before we get into that, though, let's talk about who's playing, how they got here, and everything you need to know about what you're about to experience in these next 6 games of pure unbridled awesomeness. So the first thing up, let's talk about this event in general and a little more information about what you can expect from the Anniversary Showdown. We'll get that pulled up on the screen and take a little bit of a chance to talk about it. We've invited some influencers to come here and to sort of lead teams into glory. We've got a couple of different teams. You can see who they are. Dad Venturer just featured in that last video. Zombie as well over here, bringing in that NA crew. And of course, the open qualifier team, because the community is important to us here at Free Fire. So we want to make sure at least one team was made up of community members. And this is my favorite. I can't wait to talk about it with Hypoc because it is a team of 4. And they all qualified as solos. So that's going to be a ton of fun to watch. But what exactly, right? So, and we'll talk about how that applies to Battle Royale, the game mode that is the most important communication mode in history when you've got 4 solos. Before we get to, let's talk about the prizing and exactly what it is that our teams are playing for. Because what's the fun if you can't win something? First place takes it all. And any community member who is participating will get those rewards. Now, the question is, how did we get here? How did you qualify? How were the teams made up? And we do have a little more information for you guys on exactly how we got in there through this qualification process. Part of it is, a couple of the teams, influencer driven. They got to sort of have one person come along with them. And then the rest of the way, those captains picked a friend. And then the other 2 is kind of, they got to choose. Some influencers did tournaments or open brackets to get their additional players. Some, I think, were able to sort of pick people who were part of their communities. And then, obviously, we have our open qualifier group that came in. You can see all of those captains there on the left side. And they'll be running the teams. They're calling the shots, and it's also their name on the brand. So they do well, that's great. They do bad, we all get to watch it happen live. Let's talk about we've talked about who the captains are. We know who the teams are going to be. We also need to know exactly where we're headed to. We've given the teams names based on those avatars, so you can see them, Kelly, Steffi, Hayato, all the way down. And those will kind of throughout the game, our casters as well as ourselves remind you which influencers are on those teams so that you can keep track at home, because I know that a lot of you are here because you love these influencers, you love these players, and you want to support them. So we want to make sure you have every chance available to do that. Where will they play? There are map options, and we are bringing 3 of them to you, 2 times a piece. It's 6 games today. We're going to start on Bermuda, go to Kalahari, hit up Purgatory, go back around to the start, and end up, well, at the gates of hell. It's going to be awesome, a lot of fun to watch. And chaotic, because it means massive changes in strategy in every single drop. And I'm excited to see exactly how that works. But there's something that you get out of this too. Codes will be given away throughout the stream today. So make sure you're tuned in. If you love things like skins as much as I do, or new characters, I'll give you some more details on that in just a little while. There are a lot of options and a lot of ways that you can also walk away with some big wins. That is it for the housekeeping portion. We've explained how it's going to go. We've talked about the format and how we got here. When we come back, we're going to talk about what to expect, how to win, and maybe a little more details about the maps, etc. But first, I want you guys to see something amazing that happened the other night It was an anniversary celebration in Las Vegas that set a world record, and it's just too cool. I can't explain it. It's so awesome. I have to show it to you. So check this out.
I've been loving everything you are. Your eyes alone are the brightest stars. I could stand you all night, just drinking in your sunlight. Can we love tonight? You put all the stars in my eyes. Can we love tonight? You tell me I light up the whole sky. Can we love tonight? You put all the stars in my eyes. Can we love tonight? You tell me I light up the whole sky. the only thing you're the only thing I see. Our dreams are where you'll find me.
Welcome back to the Anniversary Showdown. My name is Taviz. I am joined by Hypoc, and we're going to break down the action before and after each game to let you guys know exactly what's going on. First and foremost, Hypoc, I want to welcome you. Hypoc, for those of you who may be unfamiliar with him, and if you don't know him, I don't know how you don't. He is part of a massive casting duo that has been taking the world by storm, and more importantly for this situation, he is a Battle Royale pro. He's played at the highest levels and he understands the game. So I'm excited to have you here. And I want to start out with a question about this wild card team. Hypoc, you heard me talking about him early on. 4 players who qualified as solos and are now playing in a squad-based Battle Royale throwdown. In your experience, do you think we should expect great things from them? Is that challenging in Battle Royale?
I mean, honestly, they're coming through some of the most brutal formats in Battle Royale, these open qualifiers, right? So to not only come through that, but also do it as 4 individual players, solos, not necessarily a structured team as though, that's pretty impressive on paper. The other side of that, though, we've got a mixed bag, right? I mean, you were talking about it before. There's some people that have picked up a friend and then they've chosen the remaining members of the team. We've got some influencers matched with what looks like 3 team members as well. Yeah. So, yeah, things could get a little scary for a couple of these teams coming in because some of these guys, they're well prepped. They're bringing their A game. Let's say that, Steve.
Well, let's talk about A game. I know you did a little bit of scouting before this thing and had a team or two that you think maybe we could keep an eye on, might be someone to watch in the early stages of this event. What team has stood out to you, or are you expecting to see some big things from?
I mean, we've obviously talked this through, obviously, ahead of this event. DWF Daniel, man. Team 9, Maxim, that is, my eyes are set on those. I know you got a couple of favorites as well, but, I mean, honestly, yes, Team 12, Misha, obviously, which is the team of the solos that have come through the open qualifiers. That's an exciting prospect, and really, I'm hoping that they can continue that success, right? Carry that across to obviously this showdown now, and hopefully start things with a bang today.
Absolutely. A couple teams on the radar. I think Team 5 I'm going to watch. That's Team Andrew. That's our influencer there, is Dad Venturer. You saw him on the promo video. He casted the last event.
A lot of energy.
Right? But it was one of those moments where I think he was like, I casted, but I really want to be playing. So he's here putting in the work, which will be a lot of fun to watch. And I will say this. We have 2 players. So Team 10, which is Clue, and is actually run by Zombie. You saw her in the intro video, and I loved what she had to say about sort of thanking everybody who's here watching. That was meaningful. But she also has Ryan on her team, who is one of only 3 players who played in the All-Star event and have experience with Battle Royale sort of at this level of Free Fire. So that I think is going to help them. And Team 11 has Toddy and Killa. That's Team Laquita. And they both also play that event. So there's some experience on those 2 teams. And so that's my question, Hypoc. Do you think experience trumps sort of pub stomp past, if that makes sense?
Absolutely. I mean, the higher the level of experience, the better, right? But I guess in this case, it's how well you can adapt that to the rest of your team, or at least apply it to the rest of the team, and get everybody on the same page in terms of rotations, in terms of the strategy involved in Battle Royale. So that's definitely something else we're going to have to keep our eye on. Really, is how well these experienced players can be enabled by their teammates.
Absolutely, and that's what it comes down to. Is the ultimate goal here is surviving. You want to be the one that gets that booyah at the end, the one who takes home the win. There's only 6 games, Hypoc. I mean, that is not a lot when you talk about sort of the randomness that does come into play with Battle Royale. 12 teams jumping out of the plane at the same time. So from your professional experience, what's the game plan? If you've got these 3 other players, you sort of rounded them up and you're like, all right, we're going after it. What's that sort of pep talk vibe you start this thing?
I mean, with obviously the way the point format's laid out, yes, we're probably going to see a slower start for some of these teams that maybe want to ride out and wait for a booyah to come through, a victory at least, and get that kind of buffer on the leaderboard overall. But also, I mean, some of these teams might even just go all out for kills, right? That's either you lean one way or the other. You're either going to play for that placement buff towards the end of the game, or just go out and try and farm some points throughout the early game.
And do you dig that idea? This idea that like one kill is a point. It doesn't really matter necessarily if you always get the booyah. It's all about sort of getting points on the board. You kind of dig that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's always more fun to see a team consistently put up points that are on the back of kills, right? That's kind of the beauty of a game like this. If you can go out and employ a completely different strategy, kind of have survival as the secondary, it's always a lot more explosive and exciting to watch.
All right, guys, I'm getting word the lobbies are filling up. So we're going to head over to some more Battle Royale royalty, an amazing casting team, the king of the cast, Porosaurus, and the queen of the call, Clover.
Hello, everybody. I am Porosaurus, and joining me, as Toffee said, is the lovely Clover. Thank you so much to our analyst desk for setting us up here today. Clover, we've got some big influencers, and as they said, only 6 games to make their mark. Who do you have your eyes on?
You know what? I mean, Toffees and Hypoc definitely picked out some of our favorites. There's a lot of really good talent spread amongst a lot of the teams. And influencers aside, I think Team 12 is, excuse me, Misha, our team of players that did not come in as influencers, but actually kind of played their hearts out to qualify. Definitely one to also keep an eye on. Some favorites for those of you who have been playing Free Fire here in North America. You're going to recognize quite a lot of these names.
Absolutely. I know that there's a lot of support already out there for teams Capella and Alvaro with Uvita and Joan. So I know you guys are arguing and battling back and forth in the chat. I guess we get to see how those guys are going to do once they battle it out on the field. A lot of big fraggers. I think, when you have these 6-game type of series, and obviously I don't think a lot of these guys have played against each other before, so it's not like they've got set drop locations or they're going to take early game everybody's going to be by themselves. I think we're going to start seeing heavy action from the jump here, and what matters most is your ability to frag right there, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I do believe that we are starting on Bermuda today. So we are doing 6 matches. This is going to be Bermuda, Kalahari, and then Purgatory. And like you say, I think we're going to have some early firefighting as we get ready to go here into match number 1 for the 4th anniversary Showdown.
Let's go. Let's get into it already. There you go. You can see who's on what team. And of course, they've made it very difficult for us to know who exactly is who because some of these guys not using their normal names. So we get to figure this out as we go along. We're gonna do it together, chat. We're gonna do it together. We'll get there.
We're gonna be very investigative, just like Clue. We've got to put our clues together. I like this.
Just like Team Clue with Zombie, Ryan, Sharon, and Henry, which is Team 10. So looks like they're going to be up off to the north, avoiding Team 7 for the time being, just a little bit off to the south. Looks like we may have a little bit of a hot drop between Teams 1 and 2, Kelly and Steffi. Going to be Team Frankie and Arnold that are getting a little bit close to each other, but look like they'll avoid each other for the time being.
Yeah, they've got just enough space, but once they get done and comfortable with all the loot that they've got, I mean, this could be a pretty early fight to pop off. And I mean, as you said, you've got Zombie and the rest of her team here really getting stacked, and Ryan's going to be a big help for this. So really curious to see what's going to happen here with Team 7. It actually looks like they might be retreating just a little bit. And elsewhere in Cape Town, I mean, Teams 3 and 9 also coming together pretty closely. And it looks like Smoke, Falcon, still getting a little bit more loot. They've lost Rambo, so I'm not sure that this was an intentional hot drop, perhaps, as they've already lost 1 player.
Yeah, they're having to dip around the other side of the compound. They'll find a little bit of something to work with here, but fortunately for them, it doesn't look like Team 9 too terribly interested in trying to push them. Now, the other side of Team 3 is Team 6 just waiting here. This is going to be Team Joan. I know you guys are pumped about Team Joan, but Joan taking fire. Gonna have to dip on out of there and just barely breaks the line of sight. He's gonna have to get some support from the rest of the boys.
Yeah, you can see really trying to get a better line of sight here, but Joan actually using the wall to the advantage, taking out and getting a quick flush on smoke, pulling back once again, waiting for some help from teammates. You can see Rama using a bit of high ground there. It looks like Team 6 for right now has been able to hold strong, but Falcon pretty low on HP.
Falcon.
This might be it.
Oh, he barely breaks line of sight. There you go. Falcon gonna get taken down by Trauma. And that'll be Team 3 losing 2 players off the bat. Actually, 3 players total. I think they're down to just a solo now. I'll have to see how that solo can survive until later on in the game as Falcon just... Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, buddy. That's not how you wanted to go down, is it?
Not at all. But, I mean, you can just see right now all the loot that Team 1 now is also sitting on. And, you know, we kind of said there was going to be a couple hot drops. We've seen it now between, I think, 3 different areas. So, the teams that kind of had a little bit more of a quiet start, they've got good loot moving forward. But now, with Team 5 kind of pushed out of the way, 6 and 9 could really come together here. And you can see quick across the street is going to be Team Alvaro, Team 6. Joan holding that high ground for good position.
Oh, they just managed to not see Peep. Or actually, no, Peep's on his own team. I'm getting confused. So, yeah, team. It's always a scary thing when 6 and 9 come together, as we see Joan and the rest of the gang coming in involved here. I don't think Team 9, this DFW Daniel and them, yeah, they played it kind of quiet right off the back. They're going to start off getting 2 knocks. Joan will go down. Peep's going to go down as well. Joan gets rezzed, it looks like. So the fight's still continuing, not coming to a close just yet. Good use of the wall will prevent Trauma from finishing anybody off. They'll get the res back up, and 9 is going to have to pull back here.
I mean, you saw that perfect use of the time turn where they're able to get bullets out, but holding on. And once that time turn ended, immediately throwing up that glue wall to play the defense. But those Team 6 and 9 here, I mean, you can see taking damage. You got a couple of knocks. Peep has been taken out. But this matchup between the two isn't far from over right now. And you can see 9 really just kind of helping each other out as they try to get themselves back up at HP. But in doing so, Team 6 has completely surrounded them.
That's the problem, isn't it? Team 9 did pull back to regroup a little bit, but that allowed 6, even with the loss of Peep, to go ahead and get that good surround. And there you go. Everyone's going to find Danger Rig. He's going to have to take a few shots. Doesn't land enough here. Will be able to break line of sight just for a minute. I think he got shot from behind. I don't even think that was Danger in them that did that damage to Edwin. So Edwin now a little bit on an island here. They got to turn their attention over back towards Joan.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting as well to see that just DFW Daniel and the rest of his team have really not broken away from the rest of Team 6, but these knocks are going to be really helpful to what's left of Team 6 trying to stay alive. Another time turner you can see. Actually, looks like Mark with the P90.
Oh,
Joan down, but those walls really keeping that damage out. And look at this, just one player, I believe, of Team 6 left. They're just going to go ahead and pull out of the city. So although Team 9 did lose 1 player, they're still coming out of this with 4 kills.
That was one heck of a push out by Team 9, and you see Edwin, after getting separated from his team, I think they read the split perfectly and decided to do the one-sided push here, as we see BZ Gaming try to take a fight. He's going to go down. Nice shooting coming out from Danny. It's not over yet, however. His dad Venture is on next to no health. He's going to go down. The rest of the squad not near enough to support.
Danny doing a great job to clear up that hilltop and keep the bridge to Team 8 for right now. Meanwhile, a little bit of action going on in Shipyard between Teams 1 and 7. You can see Frankie's team right now taking the push over. Actually, a high ground right now going to Team 7. They're being very careful with these peaks.
You can see full frontage in the rest of the team, and he's going to come up at a perfect time, strikes, lands all the shots he needs to. Could be Rezible there, though, as Team 7 not really in a position to go and finish off. It doesn't look like he's got 1 grenade there. He could try to... Oh, my God. What a disgusting shot coming through. And now Team 1 is falling to pieces here. Good grenade from Frankie.
I mean, you could just see how viable that position is with the high ground. And now that they've started to push forward, using those glue walls for additional coverage as they try to close in the gaps here for the crates. Just a perfect use of peaks. They've got 1 last player. It's Jordan, and it looks like the pan's starting to come out, pulling in the melee, maybe. Seeing if they can just take this as a 4v1, but you can see Jordan holding onto that glue wall, trying to give himself a little bit extra cover, but that's not looking good for him right now.
It sure isn't. And there you go. He's going to get taken down. Team 2, meanwhile, this Team Arnold, Team Steffi. Have to swim through, but look at that. Danny in a perfect position to oversee this. Going to take some shots at those players in the water. I don't think he realizes he's got somebody right on his outside here. Actually, oh, there it is. Zeus sneaks up behind, and now Infernus is on the run.
I mean, that was a perfectly timed glue wall. You saw it really distracted Danny. Took a look at the water, wondering what that was, and Zeus used it perfectly to come in from behind and kind of take out the rug from underneath them. I mean, just the work that Danny put in previously that you kind of hope to see a little bit more, but Infernus trying to stay ahead in the safe zone. See if they can just keep the dream alive for their team going forward. But see, the rest of their teammates, unfortunately, haven't quite made it. And there you go. A good overview look for the map is just about everybody is in, except for kind of what's going down to the southeast. Everybody's still out there on the island in Setosa.
Jeez, Team 12, our open qualifier team, have nothing but real estate in the dead center of that circle. And they just kind of get to wait and see who gets to them first. But you can see how many teams are working the edge and how close to each other they really are here. Is Team 7 and 11 now going to square off? Repositioning coming out for the time being. Looks like Team 7 just trying to use whatever cover they can find to their advantage, while Team 11 is swarming through those crates. A lot of damage come through, but the knock doesn't come in. Team 7 just holding strong, holding the line, but that wall is creeping slowly behind them. Not going to do a whole lot of damage yet, but you don't particularly want to be fighting out there too terribly long here, as you still got to make your way in. Well, nice shots will come through. No! He almost goes down. Great walls will keep him alive, but only just as the jump comes through, and Team 11 is swarming down on Team 7.
I mean, I was just going to say how great that position was once again, and you saw the glue walls trap him and really, unfortunately, became the downfall. But now the circle has shifted again, this time further south. But both teams at 11 and 7, unfortunately, are going to have to start closing this fight out and heading to the next circle. And I mean, you could really see along the edge, we're having a lot of similar problems. Teams just kind of stacked up on top of each other,
making things a little bit difficult as we see team number 4. This is Uvita, the squad, but Zombie and her squad kind of holding down the fort. They've got a nice little building that they're working with, and it doesn't look like Team Uvita didn't spot out anything amiss here, or they just decided that they don't particularly care to take this fight. They are inside circle, so it's oh, there we go. He's gonna spot something. Yeah, okay, they know somebody's there. They're just repositioning to try to take that high ground away.
The way to do it, I mean, you could see that high ground thus far has been really good for a lot of these teams playing off. Now,
Safety.
hiding inside.
Safety is the play.
Absolutely the play. You know what? Who can really fault them? At this point, they've got a compound to play out of. They're inside the safety zone. And really, they don't need to take this fight too far beyond until they see where the next circle goes. Because, I mean, if you get stuck in this fight and the circle is so far away, then that's really going to make things a bit more difficult.
Well, avoidance is a strategy. Get into that late game if you can. There's $5,000 diamonds rather on the line, but more importantly, Clover, there's a lot of clout on the line here.
Oh, absolutely. And as we've been seeing in chat today, so many people here to support their favorite influencers, their favorite teams, players, friends. I mean, here in the Free Fire community, let us know who it is that you guys are cheering for. Meanwhile, looks like the UAV a bit active right now. Evil Eye's actually out there for some looting.
And getting a cheeky crate off of that one. Team 2, Team Arnold, keeping eyes on this, but not too terribly interested in trying to go for the peak as Flame Carver gonna pull out the snipes, see what he can spot. Nobody peeking the window just yet, but he sees. Oh, damage from behind. Gonna have to pull in just a little bit.
I mean, it was a good idea, right? Try to just wait for that peak. Unfortunately, this is becoming a really crowded area right now, and so they've got to go ahead, take what they've got, move on from this position, and you can see Team 5 now continuing on towards the next orange zone.
And Adventure and the gang on the move once again, wrapping off to the west, and they're going to see Infernus. Infernus finally makes it into the... Oh, no. He's been trying to get into the safe zone for so long, and as soon as he gets in, he just gets absolutely roasted.
You hate to see it. I mean, you know, especially for someone who really, he said, tried so long to get in here safely. And speaking of another person who's been trying safely, Trashman Game managing to hide just a bit behind that billboard, but you can see it is a bit crowded. You've got both teams 2 and 3 in the area. Now the circle, once again, going to the strip. Now, I mean, it's just so crowded. Look how many players still alive, Coral. I'm imagining a bloodbath here in the next minute or two.
That eastern side's about to get pretty gross here. The north, too, as well. You got 9, 10, and 11 all right on top of each other here as they run across on the top of the hill. And okay, Mr. Toddy going to go down. AMA up as well here is trying to just find some amount of cover. The Rock will have to do a little bit better than Wall, and Ryan actually cleaning it up. So Team 10 making short work of Team 11. Still one up, though.
That was a really good push from Ryan. And again, Saint Noob, Team 12. We haven't really talked much about them because they've been center of the circle. You can see right now a little camouflage from Peep as he tries to get a bit out of line of sight from Team 12, but it's also taken him right up to the last player of Squad 11. So Peep's got to be a bit careful. And again, I mean, players really starting to get up right on top of each other, and still plenty of loot to be had. Oof, Arnell with the scythe. I love it.
Absolutely. It's a scary sight to see somebody running at you with that thing. Right now, Team 2 have a little bit of real estate to work around with here. Team 10 have the high ground, and they'd like to hold on to it for as long as they can, but they got that zone creeping in just behind them, so they will have to get on the move once again. Team 10 spot out DFW Daniel, and the rest of Team 9 off in the distance, going to take some big damage. Not going to get the knock just yet, as Apex, I believe, has gone down. Yep. But you can see Freeze still trying to hide it out in the blue as well. These guys know that Team 10 is just sitting here waiting for them to peek.
Yeah, I mean, and you got to give them credit here. They've really been keeping a watchful eye on their back. They know that there's also team members of 9, but they just haven't really been able to get the line of sight to close the deal. You can see Daniel also hiding behind that power pole, but Yulia, another player kind of coming in a bit slow. So Team 12 actually just kind of fell apart from that fight that we broke away earlier. We saw Peak run back away, and ooh, there you go. Great shooting by Freeze.
Sneak one away out in the zone here, as now DFW Daniel has made it in, but as we saw before, Team 10 ready to go. He does manage to steal one away, and he's actually making this really difficult for Team 10. Does end up going down in the end, however. Now Team 10 have to turn their attention back in towards the safe zone, as there is shots being sent their way, I believe, from Team Arnold.
Team 10 also getting a good priority compound there inside the center of the zone. Still 3 players up and 5 kills to show. I mean, they've been putting in quite a bit of damage thus far this game. I'll be honest, I thought they had a little bit more than 5 kills, but with this position, we can see it's really going to push Mark and the rest of the players a bit further south. Team 2 also already in the zone, so now we've got teams 4, 3, and 5 kind of stacked up on each other. A little bit of mutually assured destruction coming their way.
Oh, Smoke's team having a lot of trouble getting inside here under intense pressure from Team Arnold, and no shots being sent back over towards Team 2, so they can afford to just sit here and stare this down and wait for them. Although hard cover has been found by Team 3, they have their backs up against the wall. Team 2 looking over back towards Team 10. Just going to be Team Zombie just to make sure that they don't get third-partied here, and they can finish off whatever's left of Team 3. Rambo's going to go down. Smoke has made it in. He's got a little bit of hard cover to work with, but how long will he be able to stay there? And there you go, Team 10 now taking some, or Team 2 rather, taking some third-party damage. You knew it was going to come eventually.
Yeah, I mean, Team Capella, aka Team 4, are really using that high ground to their advantage to get Team 3 down to just Smoke. Some help from Team 2 as well, but you can see, I mean, Arnell and the rest of their team, 7 kills right now, still 4-man, and just the ability to kind of come together in this environment, though the circle getting ready to close again, and like once again in this position as well. Team 10 in the safe zone, everybody else kind of in the open.
Team 10, that's going to be Team Zombie. Good shooting there from Venx. That'll take down one as Team 10 and Team 4 now finally squaring off. Team 4, Uvita squad, and they are looking real strong coming through here with 7 kills, and they've got Team 10 pinned essentially inside the compound. Team 2 going to try to make a move as well, but Wasa's going to get taken down on the push. And here we go. They're going to find another one. Henry gets into Team 10. Team 4 looking perfect here as they can be the team that third parties.
Yeah, I mean, a perfect use of the time turner. Again, waiting at the right moment to pops that cooldown, initiating just hit right in time for the end game. And Team 10, who looked like they had the best position, unfortunately finding themselves pinched between two very healthy, very stacked squads between Team 4 and 2. But you see Blanco right now trying to return some of that damage over there on Tawasa.
Well, big shots coming out from Venks again as they turn their attention back over towards Team 10. And that might be it for Tam. Yep, that's going to be it. Now it is all down to Team 4 and Team 2. Can Team Uvita wrap it up? They are in a great spot. They've got some hard cover still to work with. The walls are down to try to give them a little bit of cover, but you can see Team 2 is just pinned with their backs up against the blue. The push is going to come forward. He's got the shotty in hand. Will it be enough? No. He's going to get one. He's going to get two. No. Uvita will win game number 1.
You love to see it. Capella and the rest of team number 4. Boo-yeah. Absolutely flawless gameplay. And it's just, again, the amount of kills that come out right there at the end. That push was phenomenal coming up the hill at the end.
Extremely clean stuff from that squad as I think they saw that they had Team 2 on the ridge line, but they said, you know what, we'll take shots from range, but we're not going to push into that. We're not going to engage upon that because we know that the likelihood of Team 10, Team Zombie, being in that compound very, very high. We don't want to be the team that fights first and lets that team come out in third party onto us. Instead, we'll wrap around, we'll force those two to fight, and we'll be the one that third parties onto them. Perfectly planned.
Absolutely. And I mean, again, as well, just kind of the way the zone just kept shifting at the end, that good circle. I mean, we saw Team 12 kind of fall apart. Really hate to see it. But like you said, with Team 10 in that compound at the end, both the powerhouses from Team 4, Team Uvita, as well as Team 2, Team RNL, really, I mean, just put on just a beautiful show and great kills for all of those squads.
Absolutely. Well, we saw the gamesmanship at work. We saw the marksmanship at work. And now we have one game in the books. Team Uvita. And that's going to be, what are they? What's the, I know I keep saying it's Uvita. It's Team Capella. Team number 4 gets that first win. But can they go back to back? We're going to find out when we come back, where we head over to a new map. What's it going to be?
I do believe.
Welcome back, and just like that, game one is done. And so we move on from Bermuda. Hypoc, that was fast-paced, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, it got off to a quick start as well. My boy Daniel must have heard the opening segment there on the desk because, I mean, Maxim got off to a flying start. I felt like that was somewhat of a pivotal fight, at least in the early game, kind of dealing with the only team over to the east there early on, and kind of gave us a taste for some teams maybe looking to play a little more aggressively. Like I said, leaning on those kill points a little bit, Steve.
Yeah, it was and I think that's what we saw a lot of is that idea, and maybe you have some experience with that. When you talk about battle royale, sometimes you're not always in a good position to win because of the way the circles fall out. Is that a good strategy? This idea of like go for kills instead?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if there's always going to be the secondary objective of putting something on the board, right? If you're going to go out early, you might as well go down swinging and at least take a consolation prize away.
Points add up. Remember, the winner today is whoever has the most points overall at the end of this thing. So yeah, if you can't win the booyah at the end, make sure you're putting up some kill points as you go along. I think we've got some standings from that last game they're going to be coming towards you, as well as some highlights to go back over it. So we'll see those in just a second. Here comes the replay from the last match, or as I like to call it, the highlights.
This is exactly what we're talking about. Maxim getting into things very early on with Alvaro towards Cape Town. Yes, they lost one in the fray. It was actually, like I said, the only team really contesting the eastern side, so it gave them lots of space for the next rotation.
And then we saw a lot of, as it seems like in the early fights, it was all about using and managing sort of the resources of the drop, and then getting sort of those glue grenades, getting everything saved up for that late game. Because in that late game that we're about to see here in a minute, everything after this was about bringing some utility to the fights, creating your own cover. But I loved watching this one, Hypok, because it really showed these guys have a mastery of the mechanics of this game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we saw some great utility usage overall. And actually, towards the end, I guess towards that Circle 3 to Circle 4 transition, the point at which actually, you know, if you're going to be gatekeeping or controlling that edge, I know Poro was talking about this a lot as we were watching through the game. It is just the importance of having that awareness, right? And actually, as a couple of these teams moved up towards the warehouse, at this point, it becomes, you know, once you know where everyone is, you can set yourself up accordingly. And this end game was actually really exciting to watch. The team that was coming into third party, I actually thought were going to be kind of the victims of their own success. But they were able to eventually get through the gate. We'll put it that way.
So Team Clue comes out in third. I actually thought they might win this, watching sort of how Team 10 moved through that map. But at the end of the day, it came down to Capella and Steffi. Capella is Uvita's team, and Steffi is Harnell's team, and they fought it out. And what was really crazy to me was the chaos at that very end, Hypok. It was like Team Capella got sort of the notice that, hey, we're just going to sweep around this warehouse wall at full, like they didn't even try to really like glue wall very much. They literally just came around with sniper rifles in hand and went straight at Steffi.
Yeah, it's interesting because Clue, the ones actually, I think they did lose somebody trying to control the edge just before that circle popped. Whichever it was, they pulled right up to the warehouse, and I think at that point, you know, it's almost that scenario where you don't want to be the first ones in. You don't want to be the first ones to have to go in and take that real estate, that compound inside the circle, because everybody else can play hard edge. They can sit back, and ultimately, then if you ever have to leave the safety of that warehouse, you're struggling to find a recovery from that scenario. But obviously the head count is also a big factor there, and being the ones to kind of come into that late game as four from the edge and with no real pressure on their side is Capella that really pulled through there.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a little bit of a Clue was really trying to double down on some strategic play, and it was just face smashing there in the last circle. So I'm excited to see how that changes as we get ready to head over to Kalahari with our casters, because, hey, game 2 is already ready to jump off. So let's check in with Poro and Clover as they get set up for the second match of the day.
Sorry about that, chat. Sometimes you forget that you're muted. It happens to the best of us. I would know because I am the best of us. Hi, I am Porosaurus, and I am now unmuted. But thank you once again to Tommies and Hypok for wrapping up that first game. But we are ready to get into game number 2 after a game number 1 that saw a little bit of Latin American dominance, as we see a lot of Team Uvita and Team Zombie, Team Arnold, all of those guys in the late game, and all with a nice little stack of kills.
Yeah, I mean, we saw there the match standings just a moment ago, and a lot of that did come down to kills. But right now, here in the blue zone, teams 2 and 4, we just saw the late game going for
Ooh.
that high value loot and potentially taking each other out pretty early.
Early scrapping for these two. That's not what you want to see if you're a fan of either, or maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe if you're a Team Uvita fan, then you want to see them get rid of Team Arnold, your competition, as early as possible. Everybody else pretty much, well, actually, we saw a couple other pretty close drops as well. We'll have to keep an eye on those. But right now, this is the story. Team 4, Team 2, right on top of each other as they slowly get their loot situation figured out and see how they want to engage upon each other.
And you can even see onto this as well. I mean, one team, I'd say a little slightly better position. You can see the airdrop there for just a moment. Meanwhile, we've got another close range fighting between a couple different teams, 1 and 12 as well. So I believe we might have just seen 5 and 7. So once again, here at the very beginning of the game, we've got those hot drops between multiple squads. This one here in confinement.
Yeah, things looking good for Team 12. Our open qualifier squad already taken out 2 from Team Frankie. Meanwhile, Team Frankie does not want to go out early again. They went out in 12th with 0 points altogether in game number 1. See if they can turn things around or at least get somebody out of here so they can try to make it to late game. Jordan?
This might be the retribution that Team 12 needed after last match. You can see they've gotten Team 1 down to just 2 players, both kind of stuck on either side of confinement, and a rogue member of Team 6, Team Alvaro, also in this same area. So I'm kind of curious to see where the rest of Team 6 is.
They're creeping over in this area. I think they heard some shots, maybe looking to see if they can clean something up for free. Jordan, yeah, there you go. A few shots being sent his way by St. Noob. This is going to be a rough spot to be in. Looks like St. Noob waiting for assistance here. Doesn't want to push this as a solo, which is definitely the right call. If you have the ability to go for the 2v1, definitely do it. And that's exactly what they're going to do. And they clean it up quickly. Nicely done by Team 12. And now it's up to, looks like Fix Viking to get out of there and see if he can maybe keep Team 1 in this thing a little bit later.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually surprised. Figs really stayed in that fight a little bit long. I think he even ran close to that member from Squad 6 and then broke away, right? So as you say, there's still the opportunity to buy back the teammates, try to keep them up and alive in the game, but not alive right now. It looks like Danny and Squad really tearing into Team 3, who've got themselves caught out in the open, and they've run out of blue walls.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. You hate to see it. Team 3 will go down as Team 8 had beautiful position over the top, and that's going to be some nice kills picked up for Trashman Game and his squad. As we check back in now, Flame Carver be in a little bit of trouble here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was Flame Carver's glue wall, and you could see as well, Team 11 kind of stopped for a second just to see if Flame Carver was still in the area, but he really just used it as his distraction, kind of give himself the ability to get some distance, but looks like he's slowly started to close the gap here with the rest of his squad right outside of confinement, and I mean, it's just getting busier and busier. Team 9, who, if we remember last game, really went hunting on those kills, heard all the fighting, and decided to come investigate.
Team DFW Daniel squad definitely not afraid to take the fights to the enemy. They do take 1 knock right off the bat, but they'll get that rezzed up pretty easily and safely. Now they're just kind of hanging out on this ridge line to see if they can maybe catch any of Team 12 over peaking. St. Noob, spot out Daniel in the distance. Always big shots landed from range. Nicely done by St. Noob there, and DFW Daniel gets taken down.
This is a really tough place, though, to be right now for the rest of Team 9. Dangerous, and squad mate kind of stuck behind that boulder. Team 12's got a bit of a vantage point from multiple points here, so if they leave this rock, I mean, you've got pretty much every member with eyes on the prize.
You can see LP9 trying. He wants to creep out there, see if he can maybe get in grenade range. did just a minute ago, but took a whole bunch of damage for his trouble. He's got a shotgun rider here in BDL. We'll see how they decide to push it. You see the rest of Team 5 now, though. Adventure creeping up, maybe third partying a little bit here.
I mean, this is really the fight too, right? At this moment, anybody who's been inside confinement hasn't been able to move. You talked a bit about the creeping. We could see Team 5 coming in from the south, and I'm not sure if Team 12 has read the situation or not, but they've kind of need to make a decision about what to do with these last two players. Do they let them stay here, run the risk of them being a threat later, or do they clear them out so they can turn that focus back on the 5?
Gotta clean them up, and they're actually going to take shots from Dadventure as they try to go for the flank. No, the timing is just awful. A couple of nice glue walls will keep them safe for the time being. You see Dadventure still looking over in that area here as Team 9 needs to be the priority. The grenades are going to come out, but Team 9 going to dance around and escape for now, but no. They get taken out by the other two members of Team 12. A nicely executed play, even though that third party from Team 5 almost ruined everything.
I mean, Saint and Danny really pulled that one off well, but like you said, Dad Adventure kind of went a bit wide. Two more members of the rest of his team did manage to get inside of confinement, and so now Team 12 kind of running the same risk of the other squads, right? They lost their bit of their compound cover, and you can see them making a run for the buildings, and at least for right now, found themselves mostly back into safety. But now my concern's a little bit on Dad Venture. Kind of went off to the side to play anchor in that alternative angle. It's not really a safe place to be anymore.
Yeah, well, fortunately for him, it looks like the rest of Team 12 are going to escape. So Dad Venture should be able to rejoin the rest of the gang here. You see Flame Carver holding down the back line here as well, just for any additional teams that might join them. Meanwhile, here we go. Team Zombie as well as Team Joan right on top of each other. Team Joan holding down one compound, Zombie on the other side of the street, just waiting to see who peaks first.
And that high ground could be a big thing coming into play. The time turner actually a really big help there, helping with that knock onto Zombie. You can see the kill getting fleshed out real quickly, but Mama holding that angle, seeing if they can get Henry, but oh, Pete actually came up the stairs. It's down to just Edwin here.
Oh, and Edwin trying to lay that big shots through the window is going to do some damage, but needs to escape to keep his team in the game. Team 6 trying to stay alive for a little bit longer. Team 10 cleaning that up nicely. Very efficient stuff. They're going to go trying to hunt for that final kill, but we'll see if he gets away. Meanwhile, off in the blue zone, off to the south, Team 8, Danny and Furnace, both pinned down in the blue, as Team 2 is collapsing on top and will clean it up. Team Arnold still in this thing after their early fight against Team Evita.
You see Zeus did manage to make it into the safe zone, but Team 11 going a bit wide there, just outside of Command and Furnace Team 3. I mean, this is just such a crowded area, and unfortunately, teams got to continue moving forward. So this fight, it's really going to have to happen here between teams 8, 2, 11, 3, 4, all so close to each other.
Meanwhile, in Furnace, in the middle of everybody by himself, actually both two Team 8 members all by themselves and kind of separated from each other here. As we see a few shots coming through. Meanwhile, Team 2 have a nice little ridge line that they can work with. They're trying to see if they can get in to the city safely with everybody up. It looks like they will be able to do so. A few shots coming out from Team 11, JP Toddy. We'll put them on pause for a minute, but now they get in Furnace just being the sneakiest snake right now.
I mean, I was a little concerned. I thought Wasaka might have been going into Inverse's building, but it looked like Team 2 just wanted to get through command post and try and get themselves a better angle here. And honestly, it's probably going to be the thing that could really save them now. But right now, the people that need a bit of saving, Team 10, once again finding themselves pinched on every angle, this time from Team 1. Good use of a glue wall, though, from Henry. And that time turner just a little too late.
LP9 going down, and Julian will stay alive for Team 12. Try to escape the encroaching Team number 1. Frankie squad coming in at the perfect time to do a little bit of third partying here. See, they have lost track a little bit of Team 12. Okay, there they go. Frankie has been spotted out by Figs. Julian, very low health, but he's got that scythe. He's on the move. He's going to try to go for the flank, and he gets it. Good shots coming out from him. Take down Figs, but Jordan will clean it up.
I mean, you saw the anticipation that Julian was going to double peek that corner again, but it didn't come. Julian went wide, managed to steal a knock, and that is a circle shift. We're pulling away from Command Post, away from Bayfront, away from Refinery. But for Team 4, who managed to pull away a little bit early from Command Post, they've kind of been keeping a watchful eye on the teams that are out there. That could give them a bit of an advantage as long as they don't allow themselves to get too surrounded by these teams.
You see Vita. Looks like they've spotted out Team 2 trying to make their way into this next zone. Team 5, meanwhile, the Adventure Squad. Things have been going pretty well for them thus far. Like they'll stop down a little bit here before heading into this next zone. Not sure if team number 7, this is Full Frontage Squad. I'm not sure if they've gotten eyes on that or not. It looks like they have an idea. There's one, possibly 2 teams out here. They're positioning themselves wide here to go for a little bit of a gatekeeping position.
And you can see for a brief moment on the minimap the airship also moving through this area. So
Oh,
big
no.
potential for some good restocking there for some of the teams. But like you said, I mean, everybody kind of on top of each other. Oh, a great shot there onto Wasaka.
Done and dusted. As we check back in with team number 3, this is Smoke Squad. 4 up in a compound, feeling fantastic. They do have Evita Squad just off to the north. But it looks like they're relatively peaceful for the time being. Team 7, meanwhile, Full Frontage and the gang have made their way inside the new zone. Team 1, Frankie Squad, making their way out, and it looks like Full Frontage has maybe caught eyes on what's going on here, but no shots coming out just yet. Oh, no.
Ooh, I mean, you can really see a bit of struggle right now as players inside, or not inside the safe zone. As soon as you start to take a bit of damage, George just trying to make a run for
that
it.
is
But
chunking.
I think it's just going to be, maybe. Can he do it?
Yeah, he's got
there
it.
you go, Jord. Managed to join his teammates. So still 2 players up for Team 1, but just as quickly as Jord got into the safe zone, it's like members of Team 7 have spotted him, and not going to look too good for him here.
Yeah, it looks like the Adventure Squad maybe got a little bit gate kept and lost a few to the zone. Jordan, nice shots coming out from Ray. We'll take him down. We check in on the western side. Team 3 and Team 4 now finally maybe having to get involved in each other as this zone is coming in. And Team 8 just slowly getting chunked. Trashman game. There's just nowhere for them to go.
No, and I mean, we really saw coming off that high ground, taking some damage coming down from the ridge line. They've lost 1 member. Looks like they might just be down to either Danny or Trashman. The zone's closing so fast. And you can see everybody now having to make a run for it. Trey actually completely mixed here in Team 7. And there's just nothing but open fields ahead of them.
Oh, they've got a little bit of a goo wall here to protect themselves, but that's not going to be enough as Falcon does get taken down. He's going to bleed out as well. And Team 3, they're kind of stuck here a little bit. Team 7, not in a whole lot better position, but at least they have room to maneuver around. And it looks like Smoke and the gang. This is, I mean, you see what they're working with here. It's not a lot. It's not a lot.
No, it's really heartbreaking to see this moment. In fact, right now, Team 3 has no kills to show for it either. But there you go, out of the window and just making a run for that tree. And it looks like Team 7 didn't see him right off the bat, but good returning fire. The blue walls coming out in force, trying to build some cover here for the remaining players. As you can just see, there's really not a whole lot to go off of here. They try to make a run for the zone.
Oh, it is chunking too, and you can see what they have waiting for them once they get inside the circle. It is our game 1 winner, Team Uvita. still with 3 up, 5 kills, and great position. They can gatekeep all of this that's going on this side. Maxim gonna try to stay alive. Can he get 2? Sure he can. He's gonna stay alive, and he keeps Team 5 in it. But it's now just a matter of time before Team Yavita goes back to back. Can they do it? Or can Maxim or Shivar actually save the day here? Yavita gonna push it with a shoddy. That is gutsy, and that's it. Yavita, back to back winners.
A great headshot at the end, as you saw. I mean, MVP. It is going to be a Mad Euro. And there you go. The Booyah is out there for a second time. I mean, you asked before we got in this game, could they do this back-to-back? The answer is yes.
I mean, it's like we didn't even get to see them for a while there. They were just kind of hanging around on that southern side of the circle. They gate kept anything that was coming in, but all the action really going on up to the north, and they just got to sit around and wait. once it came through, I mean, they only had to get a couple of kills, and it was done and dusted. Deal set. So 2 wins now for Team Yavita. Can they be stopped?
That's definitely going to be the question as we go forward into Purgatory. But, you know, something to keep in mind is that we're starting to see a couple of the same squads really go for those hot drops, really go for those risky plays, and try and focus on kills. So that's definitely going to need to be what's brought by some of these other teams if they want to get ahead of Uvita today.
Uvita with this 2 wins, but I almost feel like the zone might have been the MVP of that last match on that north side, especially. That was absolutely brutal stuff for these guys to have to fight through. It's no cover really to be found, and it was just a madhouse towards the end game there. But we are getting ready to go into game number 3. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, our analysts will tell us all about how great Team Uvita is.
Our dreams are where you'll find me. You're the only thing I see. Our dreams are where you'll find me. Your lips like galaxies.
Welcome back. Game 2 is done. My name's Toffees. I'm joined by Hypoc, and you can call them Team 4. You can call them Capella. You can call them Uvita's team. I just call them Unstoppable Hypoc as they come out with back-to-back wins. You have played more Battle Royale than most people I've met. How hard is it to back-to-back 1-2 in a tournament?
Crazy, especially when you start things off. Steffi and Capella are actually contesting one another at the blue zone as well. So looking for that early on buff in terms of the loot. So it's crazy to see them not only, not taking casualties, always last through to the end game, but Capella, man, racking kills up along the way. It's a joy to watch right now, Steve.
Yeah, it really is. They're playing very, very well. We've seen some other teams that are consistently putting up some numbers, but if I had to pick an MVP of the event so far, Hypoc, I think I'd have to pick Time Turner. This little blue dome is having such a massive impact on these games.
It is, yeah, and it uses both an initiator and kind of I guess a safety net as well. So it's interesting to see the difference in usage, but I'm just blown away. I mean, if this is a trend that continues here, obviously got the match standings up on board. 8 kills, obviously, as well. The victory, the booyah coming through means 20 points overall.
Huge.
And I'm worried to look at the overall, Steve.
I am. I do want to give a quick shout out to Team Misha. That is our hodgepodge team, if you want to call them that. The team that got put together from a bunch of solos who qualified, and getting 4 kills pretty good. That said, though, we do have the overall leaderboard, so as soon as that's ready, we're going to show it to you right here. And obviously, Team Capella, again, that is Uvita's crew, is 21 kills, 45 freaking points. I mean, that is a borderline double of what Team Steffi's managed to put up so far, Hypoc.
Yeah, it is. And the worrying thing is it's only 6 games, right?
Yeah.
So when a gap is created so early on, I mean, you can see the cluster of teams all within, touching distance. I mean, even down really to a little lower down towards kind of Moko. Really was where you call the cutoff after the first 2 games. But yeah, if somebody doesn't do something about it, they could run away with this in the first half, man.
Absolutely. And I do want to give a shout out as far as Capella goes. Uvita is killing it. But one of the players on that team is In Maduro YT, which you can find at In Maduro YT. You should definitely give whoever this person is a follow. I believe that's 2 MVPs in a row and absolutely lambasting.
Yeah, insane performance. And again, it's always great to see teams string together wins and find consistency at least. But to see an individual as well performing consistently is always great. I mean, it's going to his name on the map, and I mean, I'm definitely watching now. I'm keeping an eye. I'll see what else he's got up his sleeve.
And I think something that has been really interesting to me is, in particular, something that we see in Free Fire that is unique is these sort of glue walls. And I believe that Team 4 Capella is using them very effectively. It seems almost like in some ways teammates are setting up approaches for Maduro by using those glue walls in very creative ways. And so someone's setting up the approaches while then they sort of have their pusher, their fraggers moving along with that. Well, I want to get into that strategy in just a second, but I got something that's probably more important to you guys at home, and that is free stuff. So here is a code that, oh, wait a minute. This is strange. That's not an entire code, Hypoc. It's part of a code. So get your pens out, write down those 4 numbers or letters / numbers, because by the end of the day today, you will have the entire Sneaky Clown redemption code so you can get your hands on that awesome skin. But is there something to be said for that? In this game, Hypoc, the ability to sort of utilize things like those glue walls in a ways that we haven't really seen before in other battle royales to sort of give players roles?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, obviously the kind of usage you've highlighted it, but I want to give some credit to Team 7 Klar, actually. Full frontage was one of the ones to kind of be pivotal in terms of that rotation in just before we saw them fall, unfortunately. And you're absolutely right. It's kind of like that support role or the support player for the team. It's almost like, hey, guys, I'm going forward. I'm going to kind of try and carve this path, at least give us an option to move it, because effectively they're moving in the open, right?
You're right.
Unfortunately, it didn't pay off this time around, but it's interesting to see really kind of teams take a different approach to one another, where it's like, we have to either rotate away, we have to take this fight, or, maybe with a bit of utility, we can kind of avoid doing both of them.
And it takes a lot of communication as well, because we saw in the last game, some of them glue wall sort of weirdly doubled up versus other teams that are using them very stagger spreads. It's been great to see. That said, game 3 is ready to go. We're going to move to Purgatory. And I talked about Good communication. We've got two of the best communicators in the world here with the call. It is Clover and Porosaurus.
Thank you very much, Toffees. And yes, we are getting ready to head into game number 3. It's been the Team Uvita show so far, but can anybody step up and try to stop them? I am Porosaurus. Joining me once again is Clover. And again, it's just been absolute dominance from these guys so far.
Yeah, they've really, found themselves too. It fights in the early game, the mid game, the late game. I mean, there's no stopping them as we get ready to go into match number 3 here and the 4th anniversary showdown. And can see a nice, good plane path and the blue zone in a good spot. It actually looks like teams 10 and 4, as well as potentially even team 8 might be breaking away. So I think we're going to have a very big hot drop once again here for those high value loot.
Not too shabby. Well, if you're as far in the lead as Uvita's squad is, you can always go for that blue zone and not have to worry about a whole heck of a lot, as it doesn't look like anybody really wants a piece of them right now. We can see in that picture-in-picture, Team 9, Team 5, right on top of each other. That's going to be Dad Ventures squad and DFW Daniels squad. Two big fragging teams here. We'll see how this ends up playing out.
It looks like, as you say, I mean, a bit of a hot drop there in Central, as well as in Moat House, right? We can see there in the picture-in-picture, 3 teams here. Loot's already spread amongst. Zeus actually has high grounds and trying to get some shots there onto Freestyle. And it looks like actually got one knock. He's going to go ahead and get that flush, pick up that kill point. Now pull back, get a little bit more loot, try and keep him safe. But Arnell taking on a lot of damage there from Kadir.
Well, and Arnell will go down. Not out just yet, though. You know who is out is our other squad that made for that hot drop there. They just decided to dip on out. They didn't want any part of this one. I don't blame them, because look at this. Another kill going over to Wasa, as Team 2 is getting slowly, or actually Team 11, I'm sorry, getting slowly dismantled.
It's starting to be a little bit of a trend for a couple of these squads that have really been trying to go for those hot drops early on and getting themselves down to a solo player, but don't need to discount them just yet. There's always opportunities to try and regroup there for the late game. And I mean, as you said, a couple of teams broke away from Moat House, actually using the zip lines, but coming back across the zip line once again is Team 8. So looks like they're coming back in for a fight a second time.
Well, only one being sent so far, and that's yeah, go ahead, get on out of there, my dude. Oh no, never mind. You maybe bit off a little bit more than you could chew there. But this is of course Arnold's team number 2, Steffi. They are in second place overall right now, so all of these kills, every point matters if you are trying to catch up to Uvita's squad, and they would absolutely love to clean off Freeze here, and they will. Done. Freestyle is down. Team 11 is out.
And it makes you say, really, Team Steffi holding on quite well for this match, especially just doing this right now as 3 players. Arnell's team, which I do believe is the player. Now, Arnell actually just got to go to Vegas for the Free Fire event. Free Fire invited Arnell and a bunch of other influencers out for some of that celebratory stuff we saw at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
So if you guys have not already, definitely check out the TikTok for Arnell and some of our other influencers as well. We've got some really great social medias. But, I mean, that said, Steffi, right? My name is Stephanie. My friends call me Steffi.
Yeah.
And so can I have a bias? Can I just choose Team Steffi to root for because I am a Steffi?
Yeah, man, go for it. Like, hey, I'm choosing. I was going with DFW Daniel because I'm from Dallas, so it's why not? We got you can choose whoever you want to for whatever reason you decide, even if you just like the like the skins they're wearing, whatever you pick.
I mean, you know what? Steffi's a cool character too. She does graffiti, right? I'm an artist. I used to do graffiti way back in the day, so it was meant to be, right? The world
Seems
coming
like
together.
Seems like all things slowly coming together here. Looks like Uvita squad was trying to keep an eye on Team Clue, but Tam FC going to be able to get on out of there for the time being and try to wrap around, avoid that. Not have to deal with anything. Is Full Frontal and the rest of the Team 7 gang doing the same, just slowly making their way, looking to see what they can see. Very, actually, kind of a calm early game here comparatively. I mean, we did have our one big fight, but it's kind of chilled off a little bit since then.
Yeah, I think one good advantage to playing on Purgatory right now is it does give teams a little bit more breathing room for those rotations. Of course, as we say it looks like a couple of different fights are starting to pop off simultaneously. Team 4 actually chasing Team 10 on the backside of their zipline and bridge cross. And it actually looks like holding the high grounds. Meanwhile, this fight that started to break off between Team 6 and 12 here in the ski lodge. Ooh, good use of Vector. Looks like keep running that akimbo. Right now using the glue walls to their advantage.
You got to worry a little bit about
angle,
Julian.
right?
Yeah, Julian and St. Noob, a little bit uphill, a little bit cover to work with right now. Team 6 needing a lot to go their way right now as they are currently in last, I believe they're in last place. Yeah, that's Alvaro. Team Alvaro haven't had the best of days so far, and things are kind of turning around on them here as Team 3 has decided to crash right on top of them. Smoke Squad gonna find Joan immediately, get that knock. Trauma gonna get knocked pretty low, but they can keep him up as they try to go for a little bit of a reposition. The Trauma, you could say, not in a great spot here.
No, I mean, whoa, actually, it's like Prama is just going to completely go for it right now. I mean, with Peep down, there's not really much else to play for right now, but unfortunately,
there you go.
Unfortunately, they're getting the knock onto Rambo, getting beat down pretty low.
Getsu!
Oh,
the last one finally goes down. They will get these heals back up, but Team 3 wiping out Team 6, and now Team 6 again, just not going their way here. Jones' squad is just getting involved in these early fights, and they just can't seem to have one go their way. It's unfortunate.
I mean, part of that too, I mean, you've got to really give credit to Team 4, right? They dropped in the blue zone early on. They picked up some real good quality loot to start off this, and now they're kind of turning the attention instead of just hunting down, right? Focusing on getting those kills, getting to an area of the zone that they're comfortable in. Right now, they're a bit on the edge of the zone, but I mean, as we saw on the previous 2 matches, they're going to kind of play the edge early on and then center themselves up right there at the end.
They have been cyberbullying Team 10 here for the past like 10 minutes, the entire game essentially. They've been chasing them, and they're
Bad
just
blood here?
I don't know, man. They're picking one off here and there, and I think Team 10 might be down to just 2 right now, and it's not great. It's not fantastic, but they're still alive, so they got that going for them. As we check in over at the ski lodge, where Team 12 is repositioning after their early fight against Team 6. Looks like they'll survive for the time being. Team 1 also. Not really a whole lot going on around them, but what do we have here on the top of the hill? Team 12 now right in the face of Team 3.
Oh, Saint Noob using that glue wall and the time turner at the perfect moment. Unfortunately, just a bit outnumbered, is going to get knocked down. The rest of the team just wasn't quite in a good position to help out. Of course, as I said that, look at this. Quick recovery, and the res coming right back out onto this. So great playing there by LP9 and Saint, who, I mean, remember last match kind of pulled off a bit of the same.
Team 3 was just rolling around as a death ball. They wanted this. They wanted to take these fights, and they come into this, they catch an unaware duo, they take the 4v2, and they just get roasted by Saint Noob and LP9. What a play by those boys as they continue on their game. We'll see where they are. So yeah, they're all the way off in the east. They've got nothing anywhere near them, as the western side looking to be the more dangerous one, even with the red circle that says danger on it.
Yeah. You know, I mean, danger, don't come here. Definitely avoid that. You can actually see Team 10 is kind of doing a little bit of a rapid rotation to try and stay about as out as the circle as you can. But, I mean, you know, they've got some time. Get into cover, get into safety. You can see picking up some loot along the way, as well as Henry and Ryan. Just now, the circle getting ready to restructure. It's going to pull back there onto the main island into Brazilla, and that's looking pretty good for teams 9 and 2. But I mean, look at this. Team 12 right now is kind of wrapping themselves right there into Team 2.
And Team 9 taking that city position here pretty early. We'll see if they. What are we doing, guys? What's going on here? We dancing? We dancing. We're
I mean, I'm
dancing. We're
dancing
showing.
right now.
We're showing off our emotes. Nothing wrong with that. Let's see if I'm not sure if they know about Team One. That's creeping around just off to the east, but they'll be aware very shortly. They also have the juggernaut of Team Uvita that's making their way across the river here eventually. And Jord land some nice shots there. Won't be enough to get the knock, but it's going to be enough to stop Team 7 from dancing. That's for sure.
A really nasty angle to have. You can see some more of that damage is connecting right now as members of Team 7 try to get into the zone safely. That glue wall set up just behind that tree, but the rest of the team still hasn't left the compound yet. So with Team 1 having eyes and the high ground, this could spell a bit of trouble. And ooh, Ray, unfortunately, taking quite a bit of damage on this, and Team 4 joining in the fight from the other side.
Oh, there it is. Ray will get taken down by Ovitas as they continue to hunt for every fight they can find. And there's quite a few of them around here waiting for them should they decide to take them. Team 1, I think, sees the kill feed and they pull back away. You can see they're still working around that wall. That's a hard cover. That rock Jord will take some damage, but Ovita going to trade down and he's going to get knocked.
I mean, that's a really risky rock to play from behind, especially if Team 7 can make it up the ridge line. So it's really going to depend on what Team 4's focus is here. But that said, I mean, you can even just see on the minimap, kind of watching every direction right now. You've got a member watching the coast, waiting for 7 to come up, and the rest of the team keeping a watchful eye, but a beautiful shot there onto Figs. Vikings going to get that knockdown.
Well, this is how you get two-time back-to-back MVP if you're in Maduro. Some big-time snipes coming out of that man. Takes out Figs. But Vinks is also down here. Blanco going to come up here and see if he can try to provide a little bit of support. Team 1 won't be able to get Figs. They still have a little bit of hard cover to work with here. As you see George trying to take the shots over in that direction. And don't forget about Team 7. They were still hanging out on that coastline. They could get involved in this at any time.
I think what's interesting to me is they actually swam back across the river to try to take a really wide wrap into the zone, get as far away from teams 1 and 4 as possible, and maybe come in on the backside of 4 while they're a little bit distracted. But I'm wondering if they saw it, because it actually looks like Blanco and the rest of the team pulled back away. And in fairness for Team 8, actually visibility onto this as well. Now, the zip lines are kind of a big factor here, right? We could see on the mini map Team 8 coming in off of that, and really what's left of the zone kind of filled with them.
I think Team 1 realizing the bad position that they're in here, a little bit gate kept from getting into that safe zone. So you can see them starting to spread out, head off to the east, see if they can disengage from this fight with Evita's team. Meanwhile, in the middle of that circle, you've got Brasilia. You've got a lot of zip lines. You've got Team 9, Team 2, Team 12. Also, Team 10, Clue, trying to make it in from that south side. Lots of cover here, lots of hills, lots of stuff to work around. It's going to be one of those situations where you might not know about a fight until you're right on top of it. Here is Blanco going to run right into Jord. I think they decided they didn't want to finish this fight out. And Jord making things happen. He's going to get one knock, but eventually does go down. But his job is done. His job was to just keep Team 4 occupied while the rest of his squad escaped. And now, Danny, he's creeping up.
I mean, really, I think Team 4's recovery took place at just the perfect moment, and Danny now stuck, taking a bit of damage from the circle as it's closing, and you can see Blanco trying to get a vantage point using that boulder, and Danny's just going to lay prone. So, you know what? This is really not much I can do here. I think he might have had a mushroom as he saw him start to sit down and work towards healing, but I mean, with the circle, with as fast as it's closing, as far away as Danny's got to go, I just think that the hope here is a bit lost.
Yeah, he's in some trouble. He's going to disengage. We'll see if he has enough in the bag to keep him alive long enough to get into the safe zone here. Looks like Movito will get in for the time being. They've got a little bit of a high ground position to work with here, but Oh, Julian goes down. It's Team 1 now, or Team 12 engaging with Team 1, and they're getting pushed from the backside here by Evita.
And LP9 doing some work with VSS as well. And you can see, I mean, LP9 has been, I think, one of the big MVPs for Team 12 here. They're constantly not only landing their shots, but managing to keep alive and engaged. But of course, as I say that, getting knocked down by Blanco. Vita really trying to third party once again. I mean, they've kept this pressure on Team 1 this whole time.
10 kills already for Team Uvita as they are down to 3, but they continue to take every single fight and they just keep coming out on top. Infernus, that's Trey Y trying to take some shots here, but you can see Team 1, even though they've got Uvita pinned back here, Team 4 pinned back here, they're just being very, very careful about how they take this fight. They don't want to overpeak. They don't want to push further than they really have to. And I think Team 4 actually going to try to go for the low wrap. They're going to get inside zone. Amaduro going to be on the high side here with a nice little flank here. If Maduro can get it. Ooh, some big damage coming through.
Yeah, I mean, Trey, and then they really need to get Maduro out of here so they can turn their focus back to the rest of Team 4. But Maduro has just been tearing them apart there. And you can see finally that knock comes through and gives them just a little bit of breathing room. But now it's just up to Blanco and R15 to try and do something here. There you go, Blanco.
So many glue walls. So much cover being placed down. Figs, the last one up, and he is eating a bunch of damage. Blanco and Vince will try to keep him out, and there you go. He's done. And now 2 up for Team 4. 13 kills in the bag. But now that they're down to 2, can they finish this thing off?
You can see, I mean, it's teams 4, 9, and 2 left. And once again, teams 4 and 2 up at the very late game here. But you can see Team 9, DFW Daniel's team has the compound to play from. And they are just spraying and praying through the windows where they know where the teams are. And that damage is connecting, but Team 4 wasted no time challenging them for this position.
And that's the problem, isn't it? Is that they were so focused in, so tunneled on trying to take out team number 2 that they allowed the duo from Team 4 to get inside. Blanco gonna trade. Whoa, no, he gets some damage in, but doesn't get the knock. Venx is down, and that's it. Team 4 is taken out. There will be no three-peat.
Oh, and now it's time for a brand new winner. As you said, no three-peat, but right now the advantage looked like it went to Team 9 as they just absolutely completely took that out. I mean, DFW Daniel, 4 kills for this game. We've seen the action they put in previously on the matches. A big booyah to them here.
We said we were looking at Team Daniel, DFW Daniel. We know he is an absolute fragger, grandmaster player, fantastic player. And this time around, they get that early circle and they just kind of hang out inside Brasilia and just kind of wait for the circle to come to them. And they're able to do just a ton of damage and pick up a boatload of kills to go along with it. So nicely done by them.
Yeah, and I mean, again, those zip lines really came into play there in the mid game, and Team 9 really using it to advantage to kind of get around, jump around some of those other teams, avoid some firefights, and also put them in position to get a couple of kills. So a great win for them. And as you say, no three-peat from Team Uvita, at least not yet.
Well, they still picked up just an absolute boatload of kills to add to their overall point total. We'll see Team Daniel. They did get a nice little stack of kills for themselves. We'll see how that affects them on the leaderboard overall, as well as we are now halfway through. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, the analyst desk will show us where everybody is sitting in terms of the overall leaderboard. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Game 3 is done, and while we prepare to start over in terms of the map order, some teams were released from purgatory as we finally got a second winner. They were waiting for their chance to move forward, Hypoc. My name's Toffees. Obviously, Hypoc next to me. We're here to break down the games, go over the highlights when they're ready, and talk about some leaderboards. In fact, it sounds like it's highlight time right now, and this game was full of them.
It was, yeah. I mean, off to a quick start once again. Lots of overlaps in terms of the drop spots. At least Trump actually trying to do his best here to do as much damage before he falls. Unfortunately, I didn't catch that. A little dance off in the shack actually there, Steve.
It was an emotathon. No, but Trauma almost pulled off a 4v1, which is pretty epic to watch. To be honest.
This was insane to watch. Again, Blanco just running absolute rings around. See Team 1 at the top of this hill here. But again, we were talking about the wall usage here. You can see, again, just a reactionary. And with the zone closing in here, it was really interesting to see actually this become kind of like an obstacle course, right?
Yeah.
So much damage done and eventually able to slip away, even though Maduro did fall during that fight. But this was the end game here. Again, you can see Blanco as well made it all the way through, but it's DFW Daniel, and Co to finally shut them down, and they actually came out. Maxim actually winning this game as well.
Big points, and I shout out to you. There's one of the teams you said to keep an eye on. In fact, the only team. You were like, these guys have a big pedigree. DFW Daniel is a very strong player, and here they do come through with the chicken dinner. My worry, though, Hypoc, is Team Capella in third place. They still brought home 21. Literally, they didn't win, and they still got 2 less than the winning team.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy actually to consider that. Again, we talked about this, right? There are some teams that are gonna just have the sole focus of survival, make it to the end game, and the kills will follow. But Capella just putting in work, and I mean, you got to say it, Blanco really leading the charge for the team in terms of that play towards the top of the hill. Yes, only 2 of them survived throughout, but again, to see game 1 and game 2 go to them, game 3 still put up points. Like I said, it's almost like the consolation, right? It's like, yeah, we didn't win, but we've put up a higher average point attribution in over majority of the other teams, and that gap still remains now. Look at it; it's 66 points way out in front still, and Steffi trailing at 42.
It's not over. It's not over yet. It's not over till someone sings. But right now, it seems like it's all a cappella. It's 66 freaking points is wild. 34 kills. And the thing about them, Hypoc, is the end of the last game. I was like, oh my gosh, Maduro is unstoppable. This guy's crazy. And then they stopped him. They killed him in the last game. And Blanco is like, hold my beer. Let's do this thing. Like, it's insane how good their team is.
Yeah, that's the other thing as well. If there's somebody, I don't want to say hard carrying, but at least delivering in game 1 and 2, it's good to see somebody pick up the slack, right? Or at least, fill those shoes when Maduro did fall at least. So that was a highlight for me. Again, just coming back to the leaderboard here, you can see that gap we were talking about. And that the cluster of teams, right? We're actually now looking from Misha towards Mocha. Previously, I think it was actually second place all the way down to 8th. But a little bit of a cluster here. One win can still change things up. Obviously, Maxim putting up a decent set of points from that previous here. Again, still just out of contention, I'd say. Steffi and Capella right now are way out in front.
Absolutely dominating. And something that is exciting to me is when I watch the World Series, there wasn't a North American presence. I mean, there wasn't a North American team. There wasn't a North American player, let alone a team. This is an emerging region. The idea here is like we're celebrating the 4th anniversary here in NA, and maybe can help introduce some new players, get some new blood. And Team 4, Capella, Uvada's team, is literally starting to, like, the vibes I'm getting from them. That's the kind of thing I've seen from these sort of developing teams. Like, this is huge, and I'm excited to see if they can keep pulling it off and do what they do. Maybe they are going to be the first major pro North American team to break out. But on the other hand, DFW Daniel and the boys look like they want to stop them. But let's see what happens. We're back to Bermuda. It's time to get into the action with your casters, Clover and Porosaurus.
Hello again, we are back. I am Porosaurus. Joining me again is Clover, and we have seen the end of Team Uvita dominance, or have we? Really? I mean, they were still running around that lobby, just kind of destroying everybody all the way up until the end, Clover.
Yeah, and I mean, even still, getting up in that late game is still going to allot them those placement points, even though they didn't get the booyah of that match. But I mean, that said, we have seen Team Misha, Team Steffi, really putting in some of the work these matches as well. And so they haven't fallen that far behind on the leaderboard. The question is now, as we start our second rotation through these maps, can they finally jump Uvita?
I mean, it's going to be a big problem, isn't it? I mean, Team Uvita is taking every fight. They're going out there, they're hunting people down, and just continuing to add to that point total. I mean, the best thing that any of these teams can hope for if they're trying to catch them is Uvita takes a fight early and loses. But how likely is that, given what we've seen so far? Well, it might be a little bit more likely here, considering it looks like we might have 3 teams dropping for that blue zone early on.
I mean, we've seen Team Uvita jump for the blue zone each and every match, and most of the time they've won it out. Now, we've seen them go against Team 2 for this positioning early on as well, and Wasaka, a little bit low, is going to get a nice knock, and I mean, this is not looking great for Team 6 right now, who's down to just, 3 players.
Yeah, it looks like Joan got knocked early but revived, and they're going to try to dip on out as there's just too hot to handle right now. Joan taking a big couple of shots in there, not going to get the knock just yet. His teammates going to join him. Oh, he's separated. He's off on an island right now. Unfortunately, he's going to go down again. And now you can see Peep just trying to run, Edwin trying to run. Wassa not going to let that happen as he gets them knocked, gets the flush. And they get Peep as well, and end 6's game 4 run already. But look at this. Here comes Team Uvita.
I think a big thing here is that Peep got across without being seen. And unfortunately for Team 2 and Arnell, they really kind of dropped their guard for a second. Team 4 was able to reposition, catch them off guard here. Meanwhile, we've got Misha, a.k.a. Team 12, fighting against Team 1 here in Mill. And looks like Jordan Figs Viking actually going to go ahead and wrap around the warehouse here. And fortunately, that's going to give the bulk of that compound to Team 12.
Talk about the worst thing that could happen for Team Arnell. Team number 2, they were trying to go for the fights early. I think they knew that Uvita would be in that blue zone. They wanted to take that fight with them. They wanted to try to knock them out early and try to catch up with them. Instead, they give the kills over to Team Uvita, and they are out early now as we see Team 12 has found Jord, but Jord will go down.
It looks like there's still a member of Team Up. Jord was knocked, but that said, I mean, we saw briefly just outside of Mill on the high ground, another team starting to creep in. And I mean, it's kind of been a little bit of a story here for Team 12, right? We've seen them take some fights early. They've gotten a little bit of kills, and then they kind of just fall apart slowly. So, excuse me, actually was Team 5, but they're on the other side of the zip line. So this should be enough space for them for right now. But I'm actually going to be curious to see what Dad Venture and the rest of their team do. If they stay up here in Peak, or if they choose to go back down one of those mini zip lines and take a fight elsewhere on the map.
Keep an eye on Team 9 in green up there at the top. That was Team Maxim, our Game 3 winner. They're starting to push over towards Team 7 as we check back in with Team Uvita. The boys in pink, 5 kills already as they continue to just dominate everything around them. Check in over on Team 11. Got a lot of room around them. A little bit of a drop just off in the distance. We'll see if they decide to go for it.
And we see some vending machine action going on right now as well. And meanwhile, I mean, Freeze. We heard Hypoc and Toffees talk about Freeze a bit earlier, and it's definitely been a player that I've enjoyed watching. But I guess hold that thought real quick, because we've actually got Team 10, Zombies team, coming up onto Team 8. And Trashman and Game actually is going to go down and get taken out very early on here. And like Hangers going to Team 10.
Quick headshot to open that thing up, and it was all but done at that point. As we now see, this is what I was kind of keeping an eye on earlier. DFW Daniels squad pushing in, and they're going to find full frontage squad ready and waiting over by the graveyard. Team 7 have hunkered down here, and they'll take a knock. Full frontage actually going to go down.
This really dangerous angle that Danger is holding right now. In fact, you can really see good support from the rest of their teammates. Meanwhile, looks like one member kind of going a bit wide on the beat. Not sure what it was that they were going for, but you see DFW Daniel really trying to see if they can find an angle to get Ray knocked out. But with the rest of members of Team 7 down below, Daniel's not going to have any more time to waste here.
Oh, it's just a methodical push right now coming in from Team 9 as Team 7 down to 1. It looks like one of their players is going to bail out. It's all down to full frontage here as Team 11 also starting to push in here. Maybe third party on some of this full frontage. We'll find one, but Otto will clean him up as he takes the fight from both sides. Will go down, but Team 11 has arrived.
There you go. The push is coming in right now. And you can see Team Light try to reposition, a glue wall thrown up at just the last second. Hopefully, Rez is going to come out onto Otto, but you can see again, I mean, 11 is just pushing W on this right now, trying to close the gaps here between Team 9. Good use of a time turner there onto Danger, but now no knocks coming out just yet.
Nothing just yet. DFW Daniel has been taken down. Team 9 starting to suffer some heavy losses here. They did have one player that tried to bail out and go towards the beach early, and he's still alive. Danger still alive as well, and he's going to do some big damage. Team 11 going to lose one in the process. Can they turn it back onto Danger? Danger proven to be very difficult to take down, but he does go down eventually. And that will be Team 9 left with one player staying alive.
There you go. I mean, dominant playing there for Graveyard. And meanwhile, 12-1 finding themselves together still. And I mean, I feel like every game we found 12-1 together. And Figs, Viking, Jord really trying to stay as well and alive as they can onto this. But thus far, 2 kills, Saint Noob and LP9, both without any just yet. So it's kind of good to see BDL and Yulian pull up their A game just a bit from this.
You can see duo from Team 1 trying to move around, maybe escape, but it's not going to happen. Figs will get taken down early. Jord hold down to the low ground, probably holding an angle or just trying not to make footsteps and survive here.
Got him here.
What? Oh no! He came out. The time turner goes down, and he gets the knock. Jord taken down 1. LP9 trying to make the move here, but Jord already on the move, already repositioning, not staying in one place too long.
I mean, you know, against the Vectors at close range, it's such a gnarly SMG, but as you saw, he manages to stay alive, and now the rest of Team 12 scrambling, trying to locate where Jord went, and he's actually managed to completely re-heal up, but this has kind of been going on a bit. You can see they're actually taking some damage from the zone as it's been closing in. So this fight's going to have to start to wrap up soon.
4 in a tower. They're very comfy.
Like, it's kind of like not clown carring, but clown towering.
Ooh, look at this from Ray. Actually using the goo walls to get within shooting range or get within grenade range, maybe? I'm not sure. He's got 2 in his pocket. This could be... Oh, this could be absolutely filthy
he's
here.
priming it.
The time turner's down. Can it say, okay? Oh, it's going to keep him alive for the time being. Ray, you've got 1 more grenade. You could wait it out. There you go. It's oh, they're just going to put it back up. This is not a great place to be if you're teammate.
No, I mean, you know, we've got a group of influencers here, and you can see just the influence of absolute shenanigans. The problem now coming in is the fact that I think Team 7's starting to lose a little bit of their patience, and they've kind of surrounded this at every angle. So you've got to wonder how much they can keep this up.
Just playing tower defense, literally here, as they do take some damage, but they haven't lost anybody just yet. Max has managed to get a little bit closer, managed to get down off of the hill. But as you said, Team 7 only 2. And what do you do? What do you do about that? I mean, you got 4 inside of a tower. If you move too much, they're just going to drop a couple of shields and just wail on you. So it's kind of a weird position for those guys to be in. As we check in on the duo from team number 9, that's a fun way to reposition. Oh no!
And you do really want to reposition above Vita right now? It's not the best place to land, Mark, and actually gonna take a little bit of damage from zone on that fall. And once again, we're gonna check back in with Team 7. Nade's still out, the glue wall's still out, but I mean, eventually, right? Ray and the rest of her team, they've got to figure this out, right?
Oh, how did it avoid?
Oh, did it hit on the other side of the glue wall?
It might have. Max trying to escape here, and it looks like he should survive a little bit longer.
Does Edwin have eyes on this? Edwin from Team 6 just on the edge of the zone by Clock Tower. He's got a sniper out. I think he was looking this direction.
Oh, he's got to be looking over here. It's this whole rat fiesta is getting even more
That better be on the
complicated.
highlight.
Yeah, oh my God. It's getting
That's
even
my
more
personal
complicated now.
highlight.
Oh, yeah, how could it not be? I mean, 4 deep in the tower, and they are defending it admirably. As we see Evil Eyes pop on up to the rooftops here. Knows that Team 11 is down beneath him. You can see the rest of the Dad Venturer squad. I'm going to provide a little bit of support.
You gotta love. I mean, I'm a big fan of the high ground here. I think especially in a game like Free Fire, it gives you not only the best vantage point to spot out enemies, but to really work on some of those drop shots. Right, try to focus on getting headshots, take enemies out quickly. And right now, Evil Eyes doing a good job calling out information for team. The problem is they've got a member of Team 5 below them, so they really need to stop everybody else coming out. Excuse me, Team 11 below them.
Yeah. Team 11, I don't think had any idea that they had company on the roof there. Evil Eyes dripped out of his mind with the tiger coat. Grenade will get thrown, not going to land. As Toddy will stay alive for now. Looks like Team 11 getting back into the building, although they have sent one out to the side. Toddy going to try to make the run, and it's going to survive. And now Team 5 try to come and provide some support, but they've got their own problems to deal with as they're getting pushed here by Team Clue.
You can see, I mean, once again, Blue Walls playing a big help here where everything's kind of out in the open, and Henry kind of has to be careful on this peak right now. You can see all the shooting coming out from Team 5, and the UAV area starting to give away position for members of Team 11. So, that said, here on the edge, you still got Team 5 and Team 10. You need to fight out this space for each other before even worrying about 11, who's not in the zone.
Yeah, it looks like Team 10 trying to bail out, but TAM FC still kind of stuck here. As we see Team 5 repositioning here a little bit, trying to make their way off to the north. Team 10 has managed to pull away from this fight safely. They'll take that. Smoke, meanwhile, stuck out in the zone. Is Team 6, Team Joan. I know there's a lot of Joan fans in the chat. Hadn't been going too great for him today. Turned things around a little bit last game. They've got some work to do.
You know, I mean, like you said, they've kind of had some good moments, especially with Trauma, but it just seems like right now they're kind of getting themselves stuck between a rock and a hard place. But right now as well, 4 kills for Team 12, rotating around the edge, trying to get into zone. Actually, good little mushroom eating there. Kind of leading the way, right? Charge into the zone. The problem is they're leading themselves right behind Team 1, which, I mean, again, these teams just cannot break away from each other. It seems like they're really good at finding each other match after match.
They sure can't, but they'll continue to wrap around the edge here as Peep, the most mysterious bush in the middle of a road that anyone has ever seen, while Team 8 and Team 7 continue to hold down their towers, their sniper towers of doom. People will manage to escape, though, for the time being. You can see just off in the north, though, Team Uvita hanging around, and that is a terrifying prospect.
And he's so far away from the rest of the team. You can see Joan, Trauma still hanging behind, inside, taking a bit of damage. And you've got teams 7 and 8 so close by, so they've got to be a little bit careful getting into zone. But Peep should be able to call out at least a safe way to get in. But, I mean, just look at the minimap again. Teams 4 and 11 just beyond this. So if Joan, I think, can keep their head down, they might be able to avoid this confrontation as those teams are fighting each other.
Well, they're trying
still going on.
They're trying to leave the tower, and it is not working out great. As now Trash Man's gone down as well. Danny has gone down. Harry J to try to heal through it. Infernus doing the same. Hasn't had to leave just yet. It's a battle of attrition, and Max will go down. So after hanging out in the tower forever, teammate, are they all going to die? Are they all gonna die to zone?
Oh no. And they didn't have any kills to show for that either. That's something for the highlight reels, for their own personal highlights, their TikToks, their YouTubes, our YouTube for sure. But that said, I mean, Team 4, Team Uvita, finding themselves a bit of hot water here against Team 6.
You can see Trauma looking around to see what he can see. The rest of the gang has already gotten involved in the fight, though, as it's like our two-time MVP now in Madura trying to engage in the fight. BDL now surrounded by 3, but he's going to start with 1. Can he get another one? As there's another one right on top of him. Sure he can. Frankie goes down. And BDL just being a huge problem here as a solo.
I mean, that's shoddy, right? Just absolutely put that work in. And you see Team 12 now regrouped, trying to stay up ahead of the zone. And just about to get in. Actually, Shavar going down could be a huge help for them to take this compound now, depending on whether or not Team 1 engages. But it looks like right now, everybody else is mostly focused on finding some safety in the circle here. As you can see, Dad Venturer and the rest of Team 5 are actually coming into the zone from a different area. So Team 12 should win out that compound.
Meanwhile, Team 6, Team Joan, hanging out on the south side, seeing if they can get rid of what's left here of team number 1. They're going to get a little bit of help from 12 as BDL going to take the long range shots over in that direction. Team 1 very much in trouble right here. Down to just 2, and they are getting pressure from multiple directions here. St. Noob trying to send shots over towards that direction. Will finally get the knock on to Figs. BDL gets traded out though, so they have to stop down here for a second. Get that res.
I mean, it seems like Figs and Jordan have just kind of been taking this fight for as long as possible as well. Now Team 5 trying to come down the ridge line. He's going to get knocked. That res comes out quick, but look at this. Joan wastes no time on here.
Absolutely had to push it, and that's exactly what they'll do. Joan pushing in, finds Dad Venture. The 1v1, Dad Venture comes out on top. We see Trauma not covering his teammate, actually, as I think that was Peep's job. Peep should get that res off, but you can see Yillian all by himself up here. And now Team 12 starting to make their moves over here to separate what's going on. And is that the win? It sure is. Team 12, our open qualifier squad, gets the win in game number 4.
A well-deserved booyah there for Team 12, LP9 captain, and the MVP actually going to go to Danny as well. Now, the thing, too, I love about this team is, I mean, kind of what we've been talking about for some of the other kill leaders, right? They're not afraid to have a fight. In fact, time after time again, we really saw them continuing to run behind Team 1. Every time I thought the engagements were over, they just start right back up. So it's really good to see that work put in. And as you said, from our open qualifiers team.
They look fantastic. They've been looking fantastic all day long. It seemed like it was only going to be a matter of time before we'd see them in the late game and in that win column as they finally managed to put one together. Well, we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will have our analyst desk break down what we just saw in game number 4, and we will get ready for game number 5. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the anniversary showdown for Free Fire. Game 4 is done. 2 more left to play, and 2 guys sitting here to talk about them. My name's Toffees and Hypoc next to me. We're going to break down all of the action. We'll get into the highlights in just a second, then go through the scoreboards, as well as get you some updates. And I heard from a little bird there'll be some code coming to you at the end of the leaderboard. So make sure that if you're running off, you get yourself a drink. You're back by the time the leaderboard goes away. Let's talk highlights as we take a look at it was interesting fights in this one. Hypoc, some early craziness and amazing usage of the time turner.
Some more early craziness. I think actually the trend starting to develop. There are some teams that are actually, I think, now just going out trying to get some kills on the board at least. You know, whether or not it be hot drops or trying to gatekeep that circle one in terms of finding that edge. But I know Paul and Clover were enjoying the tower fight. I'm not sure if we're going to see any of the highlights from that front, Steve. But
you know,
an interesting game nonetheless.
Well, they're called highlights, not high forever lights, right? Like, because that would have taken us an hour to watch all of like the sitting that happened there and the crazy nading. And I do think you're right. I think like we saw with Team Misha and some others in this last match that they played a lot more aggressively. They're out there looking for the kills early, and I think some of that came from the vibe that leaderboard was just, you know, so top heavy. A lot of teams are like, let's go out and have some fun and get crazy with it. Team Misha, by the way, that won that one, Hypoc, that is our journeyman mercenary team. That's the team that was put together from open qualifiers and solos.
And finally being rewarded for that. It's a great performance. And really, you look at it, I think you make an interesting point now. We're kind of seeing some teams either split 50-50 in terms of the points distribution, but then others, you look down to obviously 8th place in that previous 7 kills and 9 overall, where, like I said, it's put something up, right? If you're going to go out swinging.
All right, let's take a look at the overall standings. And we're going to talk about some serious stuff going on right now. And we're going to make this announcement. You're going to notice that Team Capella, that is Uvita's team, has 0 points and is in 12th. The team has been disqualified for failing an integrity check, and the tournament will resume with 11 teams for the final 2 games. A shout out to Free Fire for working to conserve competitive integrity even in the middle of the match. I love that they're out there fighting back. But that does something really interesting for me. That blows this leaderboard wide open.
It's sort of like F's in the chat, but at the same time, hey, it's anyone's game now. And some of these teams that have already put in some work through the first 3 games at least. Now, I mean, we talk about that cluster once again, 49, 45, 44. So not an awful lot separating it at all. You dig a little deeper than that. And still, for me, a decent kill count and the booyah is going to swing any one of these teams' positions.
Absolutely. And so we got to, here's the story as you look at this leaderboard. The top 3 teams have got Misha, Maxim, and Steffi. They've got big kill counts and a lot of points. Andrew's not that far behind them, but you can tell Andrew is playing with a totally different strategy. This is Dad Venturer's team, and they only have 9 kills, Hypoc.
Yeah, it is. And actually, we talk about that 50-50 split, right? That's one that, you know, if they can continue finding success, it's ultimately the hardest way to repeat that success. But fair play to them. I mean, so far, working out, they're in 4th overall, still in a good position to challenge the top spots.
Yeah, teams that tend to play for placement tend to get their points like spread out throughout all the matches. So maybe they will continue to climb as this thing continues. But I hear the match is ready. So let's go to 2 casters who know what it's like to climb and put in the hard work. Oh, wait, no. You know what? Before that, I promised you a code. Let's give you a code. I can't promise a code and not give a code. That's a good way to get killed. All right, Sneaky Clown. Here's the next 4 numbers/letters. Remember, we gave you the 4 in the last break. So you should be adding your new ones to this, E9RS. Or is that an S or a 5? You figure it out. It's going to be awesome. Add them all together when the time comes, and you're going to get yourself a free skin. So make sure you enter that right now. This is code segment 2 of 3. I'm going to hint that the next one's probably coming after the next game, but, you know, you have to stick around to find out. All right. Now, I did hype them up, so let's get back into that action. It is time for game number 4 at Kalahari with Clover and Porosaurus.
Hello again. That was a roller coaster ride right there at the end. Hopefully you'd have gotten your 2 sections of code. Yes, there will be a 3rd one. Make sure you get that skin. But we have 4 games in the books already. We are about to head over to game 5. And as the analyst desk said, leaderboard kind of wide open now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a close game between so many of the teams at the top. And you see, you've kind of heard them talk about Dad Venture's team taking it a little bit different, right? We saw them getting engaged in some of those fights, but they're also kind of keeping all eyes open and looking for that late game placement point, right? They want to get as close to end game as possible, and that's been putting them up pretty well. Now, that said, with 2 games left, all teams need to be bringing their A game here.
No, absolutely. Getting to the late game with 4 up is definitely something that you would like to get done if possible. But if you're trying to catch up to the top of that leaderboard, you're going to need some kills to go along with it. So they need to start going out there, need to start hunting a little bit. And now that we've gotten, I guess 4 less potential kills out of the lobby, that's going to be a little bit more difficult to do as we get ready to head into game number 5. Do you think, Clover, that Team Misha can hold on to this lead?
Ooh, that's actually what I was thinking about talking about because, like, right now my eyes are on Team Misha and Team Steffi, 2 teams
It's
that we've
very
seen
close.
making it to the late game time after time again. They've been putting in the fights, getting the kills, and they're up there on the leaderboard. So, Misha, though, I mean, remember, they did come here through the open qualifiers, so we already know that they've got that skill. And with that, guys, the game is ready. So let's go ahead and drop down into
Let's
Kalahari.
go. Yeah, look, I'm excited for Team Misha to see if they can continue the performance that they've kind of had this last couple of games. But like you said, Team Steffi, they came out strong. They kind of fell off in the last couple of games. We'll see if they can pick it back up here for the final 2 as we see Team 7 going to be full frontage of squad going for the blue zone. But look at this. It's a busy, busy time over here in confinement.
This is every team we were just talking about before jumping into the game. You've got Dad Adventurers team, Misha, team Steffi, and really in a 3-way fight here in confinement. I'm not even sure if this was the blue zone or just a coincidence that everybody dropped here.
It's everybody. It's everybody right on top of each other. All the teams that are trying to make plays, they decided to go and make their plays right off the bat here as we check in with LP9. Has that shotgun, trying to make some work with it.
Ooh.
Can he get it? Ooh, Saint Noob trying to make some things happen here. 2 will lose 1 right off the bat, and 4 up still for Team Misha as they are looking pretty strong coming in through here, but LP9 gets taken out. They immediately trade it back down onto Arnold. Team 2 now down to 2 players, and here's the other fight that's going on here between teams 8 and 10.
Again, I mean, I think we've kind of started to see just a constant theme of the same teams jumping onto each other, and teams 8 and 10 are another one of that. And you can see everybody really trying to close the gap right now. Team 10's got a little bit better vantage point against the final members of Team 8, but Trashman Game getting down very low. That time turner perfectly popping. He's going to get knocked down. Tam just perfectly staying alive. I was actually a little worried there for a moment. Oh, but look at this Team 11.
Team 11 coming in for the third party. They hear all the action. They want to get involved. Toddy and Killa leading the way here is KMA. Just holding point. Let's see him try to reposition a little bit as Team 10 has a nice little wide spread here, but he's not going to get spotted. The high ground goes to Henry. He'll get traded out immediately, though, as it's down to just Tam and Sharon. Shots coming through. Freestyle will go down. Sharon picks it up, and all of a sudden, Team 11, what was looking like a great third-party attempt, has gone horribly awry. They're down to just 2. You can see Toddy are holding it off while Toddy tries to go for a reposition, but Sharon not wasting any time. Beautiful flank coming through, and Team 10 wins the fight.
I mean, Kadir really had that high ground advantage, but wasn't really paying attention to their backside, and that flank came at the perfect moment. But once again, for the 5th game in a row, teams 1 and 12 finding themselves at grips with none another, still outside of confinement as well, 5 and 6. So good wrap coming from Peep that should have that vantage point on Shavar right now, but you can see going back in for the cover of safety, looking for that high ground up here, using the windows, and it actually looks like they've been spotted out, so Peep needs to be a little bit careful here.
Oh, Dad Venture played that sneaky snake roll. The rest of Team 6 were thinking that all of Team 5 were making a run. Dad Venture decides to hang back, and he gets a kill for it. Nicely done by him. But now what does he do? Team 6 now in a position to where they have to decide, do we keep pushing or do we stop and try to take out this solo player who just killed us? And you can see it looks like they've decided to regroup, and Dad Venture might actually get out of this.
My heart's rooting for Trauma. I mean, we've seen Trauma put so much work in, but also Jordan. I mean, I love seeing Team 1 as a 4-man up, and my hope is that they can finally come out versus Team 12, who they've been fighting all day long.
It's going to take some work. This is a nice flank here by Jordan, but you see Frankie goes down from his squad. He's trying to make the push here. Doesn't look like he's been spotted out just yet. Now he has. Team 12 have their eyes on. They spot out George as he tries to make this nice little flank. St. Noob going to be there waiting for it, but George ready to go with the Vector in hand, but he's going to get pushed as well. He gets spotted out on the flank, but look at the moves. He's going to try to stay alive. No, St. Noob will finally finish him off, and they'll be able to get the res. As Team 12, the rest of Team 12 trying to use this opportunity to make them move a little bit closer. I don't think they spotted BDL.
I mean, really the perfect use of the time turner. They're able to pick up a little bit of speed, and George stayed alive a lot longer than I think we potentially expected, but still a 3v3 here. As you can see, BDL right now trying to stay alive, waiting for a peek for any number member, but doesn't have eyes on Frankie, doesn't have eyes on Figs, and is going to go ahead and go wide, looking for another angle onto this building. And actually, it looks like they did man up purchase back out for Team 12. So,
all right, keep calling him BDL. I don't see the whole name, so that's Danny.
Oh, it is Danny.
Danny, it is Danny. Danny trying to get up a little bit closer and see if he can maybe gain some information about what Team 1 is doing here. But they are escaping. That's what they're doing. As we hear a few shots coming in, I think Team 3 may have run into a Team 11. Oh my goodness, look at the split from 11. KMA way off to the north, Kadir almost in the center, and Team 3, they're right on top of the third member here. I'm not even sure who it is.
Oh, just so crowded here, right? You can see Trey actually made it across the lake, but Team 2, Team 5, Team 1, Team 12, these are all teams that have been high action, high energetic, and really aggressive through and through. So to have everybody kind of in the similar situation here on the edge, you've got to wonder. I mean, we've got 11 teams still alive right now, and I feel like that number is going to fall dramatically here in just a moment.
Uh-oh, Team 5.
With that UAV.
Looks like they tried to make a push onto Team 2. They didn't know that Team 6 was right behind them, however. So Dad Venture going to get pushed here by Trauma. The shotgun will do the work. Now Shavar and Evil Eyes trying to survive here as they're going to find Mex, and Mex gets knocked here. Trauma, or Evil Eyes rather, going to win that fight out, and now turns it around, trying to do the 1v3, 1v4 play here. Zeus tries to make the push. They're playing around the goo wall. It's not going to be enough. Zeus getting spotted out and going down, and Team 5 picks up 2.
I mean, the worst thing that could have happened through all this chaos was that UAV making an appearance. And we saw that it was shot down, but unfortunately a moment too late now. As the engagements come to close, 12 close the gap onto 1, and it's like Trey actually is going to fall to Peep here.
Peep with the sneaky plays. Stays alive and gets a kill for his troubles as Team 1 and Team 12, the perpetual fight just keeps on keeping on. As Team 1 not liking their position too much here. Team 12 in a little bit of a better spot. So we'll see St. Noob pull back out of there, and he's going to run right into Figs rather. As Figs all by himself. Frankie has gone down as well. And Team 12 just cleaning up here, but Team 5 out in the zone may get involved here very shortly as well. Figs somehow still alive, but St. Noob just waiting it out, and he'll clean that up, and that is it for team number 1. Actually, no, they still have one guy left. I'll play 9, okay.
But I mean, you can see Team 12 right now sitting on 6 kills is not wasting any time right now trying to clear all the buildings, see if they can find Jord.
That's Jord.
It's always got to be
Actually,
Jord and Trey,
left, yeah.
right? Whenever we see who's left of Team 1, this is who it always is. And meanwhile, elsewhere, Smoke, Rambo, kind of in a little bit of a rough place as they try to recover from a previous fight out here in the maze as well. And you kind of got to wonder like how much chaos. And oh, there we go. We saw in the kill feed just for a second. Yulia did get that kill. So Team 12 almost done clearing out one. But look at this. They found Infernus.
Infernus all alone in a building. Feel like we've seen that quite a few times here today.
Hey, don't break what isn't broken. It's worked for him thus far today.
Indeed it has. Well, these fights, I'm sorry, I'm teams right on top of each other. It's gotten a little bit confusing, but it looks like we finally started getting things squared away. And look at the shots from Sharon. KMA just getting absolutely destroyed in the open field.
You can see it just wasting no time on that rotation. The circle, though, really hard shifting onto Refinery, and we can see Teams 12 going straight for the center of the zone, and 11 actually running right into that UAV, going around the southern part of the map. So Teams 3 still need to get themselves in the circle, and they've actually haven't been going towards the zone. I'm not quite sure what the confusion is going on there for the Rainbow. Actually, it looks like they went back in to purchase revives. They've managed to get their team almost back up to full stack.
A lot of confusion going on there, but Shavar will go down. Evil Eyes will be the last one up. 14, number 5. You can see Ray shooting it. Oh, somebody way out in the distance. Get some big deeps down, but I'm not sure they got the kill as we see full frontage squad just controlling the area around them. They've got this high ground. You can see Wasa. That's 3 solos just kind of all right on top of each other. Team 1, 8, and 3. As the zone closes in, Team 10, meanwhile, just playing it slow. This is...
It's kind of been the way that they've played throughout much of the day, but you can see they've got 7 kills, and once again, a good position for the late game, but 12 running right into 7, and Ray trying to get those close-range shots onto LP9 is going to connect, but hasn't found the down just yet, and the glue wall's going up on all sides here.
Quick scoping with the sniper right in front of you as he's trying to take the shots as they're 10 yards away. He's just pre-firing the edge of that goo wall just in case a peek comes through. Nothing does, however. Full frontal has gone down. Max has gone down. Now Ray, the last one up here, as Team 7 starting to get bullied from far away. Danny trying to clean himself out of this goo wall fortress he's created. Ray does get the res onto Max, so they will try to run away, but no, LP9 is not having it. He chases him down, and Team 12 wins the fight.
And you got to see as well, I mean, they sent a player to another angle onto this as backup, still 4 up, 11 kills. I mean, we talked about the strength of Misha in this tournament. Question remains now, can they hold up through the rest of this game and pick up a second booyah? Right now, though, Team 10, as you say, playing low and slow, just on the edge of zone right outside of Refinery. And, it's kind of a similar question for me. We've seen them up in the late game a couple of times as well. So this could potentially be their time to shine with the booyah.
Big things popping on the edge of these circles as we see Infernus trying to make a run, but he has been spotted out and finished off by St. Noob. Fortunately, I don't think they spotted out the other solo that was trying to make their way in. Meanwhile, Team 10 going to find Team 3 and Team 12 as a 3-way fight breaks off in the northwest. Crown has gone down.
Ooh.
Shield will go down for now. Team 10 just trying to keep that high ground, but they've got Team 12 making a big wrap from behind. Team 3 just getting bullied. They're forced into the back into this compound here. They've got to hide. But Ryan's going to make the push. He's going to find Rambo. He's going to find the knock. Falcon, though, still alive, still using that goo wall, staying alive. Tam has gone down for Team 10 as Team 12's wrap has found success here. So they have to turn back around. Sharon has gone down as well. And St. Noob will get traded. Gillian down to next to no HP. Will find one before eventually going down. It is absolute madness in the Northwest.
It really is. I mean, Team 12 tried to get on the backside of Team 10 here, and it looked at first to be fruitful, but they fell apart. The problem remains is that Falcon's still alive, as was Evil Eyes for Team 5. We saw him kind of sitting on that the vending machine for just a little bit. But that said, mostly revived here. They did lose Sharon. But the last 3 members of Team 10 running for zone, trying to stay ahead of the circle and avoid that damage as they get into the safety zone. There's not even time to shoot. You can see the glue walls are really just out to keep damage from Falcon potentially here.
A phenomenal response by Team 10 to that flank from Team 12. But now it looks like Falcon may have run right into Team 11. Team Luqueta was sitting at the bottom of the leaderboard. This could be huge for them if they can manage to pick up the booyah here and a nice little stack of kills. The fight coming through. Freestyle will find Falcon, and that'll do it for team number 3. Team 11 has the high ground. Team 10 has the low, but Ryan tries to make a move and gets caught out. So it's down to just Henry and Tam. As you also have the one solo from team number 5, Dad Venturers squad. That's center of the circle right now. Maybe can make a play here, make the hero play as a solo.
Big knocks coming out. It's just down to team 11 and the last remaining member of team 5, Evil Eyes. I mean, you got to wonder what it was that he stopped to buy in that vending machine, because he managed to stay alive through it all. The problem now is that he's got the low grounds. He does have the circle, but I mean, when you look at this as a 4v1, it's going to take a miracle for Evil Eyes to come out on top.
Could we have a heal off? Or will Team 11 take the risk to drop down here? It's like Kadir is going to start sending it down in this direction to see what he can see. Doesn't look like Evil Eyes has been spotted just yet. Well, Kadir not looking in the right direction, but he's making his way down to the low ground. Now Toddy coming down as well. Everybody's coming down. Look at the damage
like
they
teams
took.
Really read this situation, and sending 2 players is a smart call, because if Evil Eyes gets a knock on one, there's always the chance that they could try to turn it back in their favor. And Toddy actually getting a little bit of heal to try to recover from some of that fall damage. But as the zone's closing in, they've got no choice but to run right up to Evil Eyes. They should spot him here in just a moment.
You would think they would. Freestyle actually going to go down to the play zone. Evil Eyes will find 2, but he's in the zone. No!
Oh.
He goes down, and Team 11 will get the win.
Great play. As you said, they hadn't had a booyah yet, and they weren't doing too terribly well on the leaderboard. So to pick up their first booyah of the evening is going to do big things for them in today's tournament.
From worst to first for Team Luqueta and JP Toddy and Killa. What a fantastic performance by them. And it was not by any means easy. It was a fantastic response to the wrap that Team 12 put onto them. You could see that they were all focused down on that low ground position, and Team 12 used that to their advantage, came up top, but Team 10 immediately flipped that response, turned it around, took the fight back to them, and somehow, some way managed to keep all 4 alive. Fantastic stuff from them.
Yeah, and especially when a match like this, we had so many different teams that kept clustering and pressuring each other in different areas. I mean, it seemed like from the very start of this match, it was hot drop after hot drop, teams really on top of each other through that whole game. And so kudos to Team 11. And also, I'm going to give credit to Evil Eyes for really managing to stay up in some tough situations.
Well, that placement, once again, going to be great news for the Dad Venture squad. We'll see how they sit in the leaderboard overall. We have 1 game remaining, guys, so don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll get ready to finish this thing off. We'll see you soon.
When we collide, no one walks away easy. I never thought you'd be the one. I never meant to take your heart. I never felt so hard. I never meant to be the one. I never thought I'd break your heart. And after the stars have crumbled to dust, we still feel the warmth burning in us, burning in us. It hurts so bad, but it doesn't mean that it's wrong. No, 'cause after the storm, you'll see the sun. And after the storm, you and me, we both live life at full speed. Easy to see when we collide, no one walks away easy. I never thought you'd be the one. I never meant to take your heart. I never felt so hard. I never meant to be the one. I never thought I'd break your heart. And after the stars have crumbled to dust, we still feel the warmth burning in us, burning in us. And it hurts so bad, but it doesn't mean that it's wrong. No, 'cause after the storm, you'll see the sun.
Welcome back to the anniversary showdown for Free Fire. My name's Toppies. I'm here with Hypoc. We've got 5 games down, 1 to go, and it is the last chance to dance for the teams that want to put those points on the board and come away with the big win and all of the diamond. So let's check out the highlights. Let's check out the scoreboards. Let's get into all the good stuff. And then there's a code coming. But it all starts out with the time turner, doesn't it?
You know, it's been interesting to kind of see the different uses throughout here. Again, one that comes down to walls and some good usage. Again, in terms of rotation, Steve, we talked about it in the previous, no, the game before last, actually.
Yeah.
In terms of, you know, kind of support players and being that kind of good teammate, right? We're seeing a couple of characters crop up more often now.
Absolutely, we are. We're seeing, I think, a big differentiation, too, between the high kill seeker teams and the sort of placement position savvy teams. And I'm kind of excited to see which ones come out on top because, again, a team that's been very focused on positioning is Team 5, or Team Andrew. That's Dad Venturer and Evil Eyes' team. They seem like they've been very position focused and have been very quietly climbing that leaderboard.
Yeah, they have, and think slowly chipping away. And you talk about, especially in Battle Royale, right? There's going to be that one game where, you know, the stars align and you are set up to win a game. And ultimately, you know, it comes down to a few decisions along the way. But you know, we talk about game-winning positions. You know, every so often those games come up where it's kind of it's handed to you and you just have to close out. But talk about this leaderboard here, Steve, because yeah, and actually a team coming out in terms of the booyah, right? In terms of the winner of that game, I think Lakrita actually sat in 11th place before this, if I'm not mistaken. But look at the point distribution here. I mean, Misha, Clue as well on 20. Yep. This is kind of crazy.
And Misha's been playing hard frag forward, placement second. And so they've been all over, but they're putting up good numbers. Laquita, this is the first time we've seen JP Toddy and Killa's team really sort of in that booyah position. And so it'll give them points. But then Team Andrew, which is our dad venturer, slow positioning crew, is again up in the top 3, putting points on the board. So let's see the overall standings. Let's see exactly how that is paying off for these guys. And it is going to be Team Misha's frag. If Team Misha were a wine, I would describe them as frag forward, because they have been looking for nothing but kills and nothing. And that's just like, that is their bread and butter. And I got to tell you, they do it better than anybody else.
Well, I mean, we were talking about the importance of, positioning well and kind of playing that survival game. You can make the complete opposite point, right? Misha have been consistently putting up kills. So even in the games where, they're not necessarily placing in the top 3 or top 4, they still have something to come away from. And really, this is the byproduct of that, right? It's an 18-point lead. And again, we're talking about that cluster of teams kind of, grouped together in terms of the overall points here. Look at it. Yes, they can trade a win back and forth, but there's an 18-point gap now versus a team that's actually just going out and finding consistent points, Steve.
Absolutely. Find and get your hands on whatever you can. Points, kills, and codes. We've got the last section of that code. If you've been writing them down, here is the 3 of 3. Write it down, add it in, put it in the game, get yourself that sneaky clown skin. And if you didn't get them all, stick around. I've heard a rumor that we maybe give them to you again after the next match. Also, keeping in mind, guys, this is not the height of giveaways, Hypoc. Tomorrow is the anniversary peak day on the 28th. And on that day, there's going to be 3 times the experience, 3 times the coins, lots of new challenges, like say defeat 11 enemies, be allowed to change your name card, and 2 brand new characters that you can get for free if you log on and play. And so what I'm going to do is after the next match, I will walk you through how to redeem those when they become available tomorrow, because I'll be honest, if you're like me, you love free stuff. Hypoc, do you like free stuff?
Well, probably my favorite thing in this world is something free, Steve.
I used to be into fitness, and my trainer once said, never turn down a free lunch no matter what. I'd never turned down a free lunch or any other lunch, as you can tell now. And I'll never turn down a cast brought to you by 2 of the biggest voices in Battle Royale, the royalty of casting. It is Horosaurus and Clover.
Yes, indeed. It is I, Porosaurus. It is she, Clover, and it is the final game of this 4th anniversary showdown, and it is still up for grabs, essentially. I mean, look, Team Misha, they do have an 18-point lead, but we've seen that 18 points is not that hard to overcome if you get a good run going.
Yeah, I mean, a big thing too for Misha, as we saw, right, is that constant engagement that they had with Team 1 last match, with pretty much every match finally falling to them, but they were still able to get quite a bit of kills that game. So I think right now, if you're a team falling behind Misha, your focus just needs to be the second you engage them, take them out of the game. You can't think about anything else but taking care of Team Misha first.
Well, it has been wild, crazy, and wonderful for the last couple of games here in terms of hot drops and fighting going on from the very beginning, all the way through the mid game, all the way through the late game. Let's get ready to go into our final game of the day. And who will we see hot dropping on each other first?
That's going to be interesting. I mean, you've got Crossroads as a blue zone at the very end of the flight path. And I think that could really open it up to a lot of teams that might not normally think about taking a hot drop. It looks like Team 12 still in the plane, so might be potential. But now we actually got 4 teams dropping at once. So I think Crossroads is
I
definitely
wonder
going to be a hot
where they're
spot.
going.
You know what? This is it. This is the time now, right? For all of those teams trying to go for the win. Not only are you going to run the gambit to get some of the best loot that you can, but also take out the teams that you really need to have advantage here.
Well, right off the bat, in the center of the map, we see Team 9 and 3 dropping very close to each other. A few shots will be sent that direction from Smoke, and he's going to get Danger Rig very low. Before a Danger Rig will have to break LOS with that time turner with those trees. Will survive. Otto be the last one out of there.
Oh, Evil Eyes.
Oh.
You know, I mean, we saw Evil Eyes pull off a miracle there at the late game, the previous game, but Saint Noob wastes absolutely no time ejecting him from the game here. And Misha already putting in work there with 1 kill to show, but you can see, I mean, instead of going to the blue zone, they kind of stopped short just outside of Moat House, where Team 2 did manage to go onto the Moat House, and you've got Team 5, Team 7, Team 6 fighting just outside of reach here. So this is a good potential for Team Misha to kind of farm some kills.
Tons of team over in this area. And you see Team Andrew, Dad Venture squad, the Purple 5. They've lost 1, but they're still getting involved. And oh no, they're going to lose another one as Dad Venture himself will go down. Not sure who that was to, but you can see there's a number of teams in that area kind of looking over in that direction. Team 10 and Team 1 will make it over to the crossroads. Figs, looks like he knows something is afoot in here as Frankie will send it in. Jord will follow. Figs in a little bit of Overwatch while they make their way in the compound to start getting their loot on.
I mean, Team 10 has really had an exciting day thus far, and even the previous match, we saw them really rank up there in kills. So that said, to kind of finally see Team 1 fight somebody other than Team 12, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. 10 is just about done getting their loot, and you can see, really, I don't think they're aware that Team 1's walking on the backside of him.
Not at all. It looks like they're quite content to just dip on out as they do a little bit of loot trading here. But Team 1, I think there's nothing there for them to loot, so they're just pushing out, and they're going to see if they can maybe get the loot off the bodies of this Team 10. But look at this, Team 6 now has the overview as well. Trauma going to be taking the long-range shots. Frankie going to go down as Ryan is making that shotgun sing. 3 kills now on the board already for Team 10. Team 1 down to just a solo player.
Oh, a little heartbreaking fall from grace there for Team 1. They really tried to pull off a bit of a surprise fight, but it was they saw with Team 6, right? Popping that time turner at the top of the hill so they could shoot out and give him a bit of extra coverage. It's gonna been kind of the play. I mean, we even heard Hypoc and Toffees talk about it on the desk. The time turners have just been so important today.
Absolutely. Well, Team 1 does get found out and flushed out. That's 4 in the bag for Team 10, but look at Team 6 just coming all around, getting a full surround with that high ground. Some long-range weapons here, trying to take the shots in, and they're going to find him. Going to find 1 knock already for Team 10. Sharon will get flushed out. Rest of Team 10 still hanging out inside that crossroads area. Now look at that, Team 5. That's going to be Dad Venture's squad. They are pretty beaten and bruised right now. They might be hearing these shots, deciding to come over here and see if they can possibly get a third party in.
And it actually looks like Team 10 is going to try to get away from this. The problem is that Joan and Edwin quietly repositioned around this fight. So you had a couple of members of Team 6 kind of hurting Team 10, so to speak, outside of the crossroads.
Look at Peep.
You've pushed them right into more danger.
Oh, Peep has a beautiful angle here from behind. Team 10 not expecting it at all, and big damage coming through from Peep from range. They take the snipe shots as well, but no! He gets knocked! That's not how you wanted that thing to go. Here we go. The rest of Team 6 now going to push in. They're going to take another knock. So 6, they had a great flank going on here for Team 10, but Team 10 responds beautifully.
And it actually looks like one member of Team 6 is going to take the zip line to go ahead and get themselves to safety. Unfortunately, Joan is kind of pinned down here, and you can see Tam and the rest of Team 10 trying to get a safe angle around this boulder. Get that line of sight on Joan, shooting out already towards Tam, but that glue wall is going to go up. Tam's going to have to keep positioning wide. And, you got to give credit to Joan here. They really tried.
Filthy. Well, Joan, it got the job done. 1 player from Team 6 still alive, still getting out. But look at Team 12 about to do to Team 10 what Team 10 did to what Team 6 did to Team 10. Now let's see if Team 10 can hold off Team 12 as they go for this big, long, wide wrap around the north side. It'll take a few shots. It looks like Team 10 spots them out.
I mean, I was kind of wondering when this fight was going to happen, right? Because once 12 got done with Moat, you knew that, all right, the focus here is just getting kills. Even if they don't get a booyah this game, we've seen really what they can do. And so in their positioning right now, it's just climbing up that leader, but rather maintaining that position on the leaderboard. And Saint Noob leading the Vanguard actually found themselves in the thick of it. Good use of the time turner, but Cam wasting no time there to get that glue wall up. And Saint Noob now going to pull back to reposition until the rest of their teammates close in the gap here.
Yeah, St. Noob a little bit far ahead of everybody, and he's going to pay the price as he goes down. And the rest of Team 12 finally starting to come in, but it might be too late. BDL goes down, LP9 goes down, Julian the last one up. And the open qualifier team that took first place gets completely decimated. Team 10 cleaning up.
And they've got 11 kills as well. This early on, I mean, we're only 7.5 minutes into the match. They still have 4 healthy members. And now looking at the zone, you know, yes, they've got some distance. And really, I think the biggest threat now is Team 2 that's coming up to them, because the safest way to get across the river is that bridge right there. And you really try to time this out, it's going to put both these teams on top of each other at the same moment.
And remember those overall leaderboards. Team 12 was in first place by 18 points over Team Clue, Team 10. And Team 10 now has 11 kills in the bag. Can they keep this going? Can they catch up to Team Misha? Or is there another team that maybe will make a run? Team Steffi was right there. Team Maxim also very, very close. It's so close. And now that Team Misha has gone down, Team 12 out of the game, all bets are off. This thing has opened up wide open.
Oh, there we go. Actually, this might be the one thing that could help them out. It looks like Team 2 opting for zip lines to get across the river. Meanwhile, Teams 8 and 3 on top of each other in Brasilia. And it actually, ooh, like a little bit tough place for Falcon right now. Is taking a lot of fights from every angle here.
Falcon just trying to reposition to get a different bit of an angle here, while the rest of Team 3 still holds down the same building. He's going to find some good shots into Harry. Won't be able to get the knock just yet. Harry gets the heal off, trying to lay the damage into the goo wall. It's not going down quickly enough, though. Harry going to try to reposition. Looks like he should survive for a little bit longer. Nice shield to keep that grenade from doing any serious damage onto Falcon, as Infernus has found his way into the compound.
It's good to see Falcon rejoin his teammates, find that safety, and you can see rest of Team 8 still using those zip lines. I mean, we've had zip lines every match, but Purgatory always turns that up another notch chaotically. And it actually looks like Team 10 coming on the backside of Team 2, so they didn't opt the bridge cross, but instead falling behind 2. I think they might have spotted him. And once again, just kind of on the hunt for kills. I mean, we talked about the ways to catch up to Team Misha. Focusing on kills right now is going to be key, as well as placement. But I mean, I really think at this point, especially considering the late game presence so many teams have had, the kills is where it's going to be.
Gotta watch out for Team 10 and for Team 2. Both of them came into this game with the same amount of points. You can see Arnold going down. They've already lost mechs here. Zeus and Wasa down a little bit of trouble. They're going to have to reposition. Looks like they will get the res back on Arnell. And Team 7 going to use that time to reposition just a little bit. Team 10 not taking the zip line over here. They didn't want to take the risk that they would be forced to face plant into a fight. I think they realize the situation that they're in. They have a shot at getting this win here, the overall win for this anniversary showdown, if they can survive a little bit longer, get a few more kills.
You see, I mean, Cam actually out in the open, a little bit of help from the time turner offering some shielding, but now they try to pull back away. A bit of damage from Zeus, but should be safe behind cover. That ridge line offering a lot of help here. So Team 10, I think right now the focus is just getting into a point of safety, trying to stay up once again through the late game, but you can just see how out the open it is. And briefly for a shot as well, we saw some other teams, not just 2 in this area, so they've got to be a little bit careful with this rotation.
Team 2 was just able to get their downed player back up, and immediately Team 10 comes up over the top. And they get another 2 knocks here. You can see Asa has been rezzed, but the push coming in from Team 10, they don't want to waste time with this. They're going to face plant into Team 2, and they absolutely roll them. Team 10 is on a killing spree right now, hunting down everything around them.
Mex is just really working a run for the zone right now. The last player up for their team as well. We can see their little Falco pet just keeping uh, kind of up with them. But the big problem right now, I mean, you have just the terrifying aspect of Team 10 on your tails. And I mean, kudos to Mex for reading the room and getting out as quickly as possible. But I think if there's anything that we've learned here is that those teams will never let up. Now, meanwhile, looks like 5 actually might be able to spot out Mex, so his troubles aren't over yet.
5 is a little bit split here as well. You can see 2 being sent over. They're going to find Mex and take a few shots, but Mex will survive it for the time being. You see the rest of Team 5 will be a little bit farther off down towards the south. Max, meanwhile, in the trees. Team 7. Looks like he's been spotted out. A few goo walls will go down, but Shavar continue taking those shots over in that direction as we see the western side of this circle very, very congested, very busy, but just inside there's more teams waiting. As you see, Trauma is now making a long wrap around and might come behind Team 5 and catch them off guard if they're not expecting to look in that direction.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like one member of Team 5 might have spotted Trauma out, but that fight not quite over just yet. Meanwhile, Mex actually did pick up a vehicle. I think this might be one of the first times we've really seen a vehicle be used so far today. But, I mean, you know, when you're a solo and you don't really have a good positioning in the map, it's all right if you're making a little bit of noise, because that's going to get you as quickly as possible into some safety.
15 kills for Team 10, and they're hunting for more, and they've got Team 5 right in front of them. You can see BZ Gaming just off in the distance. Mex has been spotted out again. It's just out of the frying pan and into the fire for the last player up for Team Steffi, doing everything he can to keep the team in it. Looks like he should escape Team 3 for now. He needs his Team 8 to actually maybe take a few shots over towards Team 3 and take their attention away from him. You can see he was the one player that got revived, so his loot situation not great at all, but his survival instincts have been kicking in big time.
And I mean, if anything, something that might help is that Mex running away has actually pulled Team 3 into Team 8. They might be able to distract themselves with each other. Speaking of another team fight, Team 9 coming up onto the remnants of Team 7.
Have managed to creep into zone. Got the wall at their backs. Team 5 making a long wrap around, and Team 10 off to the north as well. A question how long you want to take this, you want this fight to take, and there you go. Otto's going to get knocked from range as looks like Team 7 kind of baiting Team 9 almost into this fight while they get third and fourth partied from range. Meanwhile, Team 3 does run into Team 8. Team 3 with that high ground position for the time being. Team 9 back over here taking a lot of damage, having to barely survive. Otto will go down. Now Mark in some danger here as well. This circle is insane. The river running right through the middle. And look at that, the next circle. It's going to go right on top of the river as Team 10 trying to add to their kill count here.
I mean, Team 7, Team 9, they've got that tiny little compound there right on the waterfront. Team 11 has a little bit of ridgeline they can play from. So for everybody right here between Team 10 and 5, I mean, this is just spelling potential for disaster if they can't start taking out other players. I mean, Team 10 can't even really focus on pushing that compound until they take care of 5.
Brutal stuff going on right now for all these teams. As Dad Ventures, squad number 5, they've got 5 kills already. Not a team that's gotten a lot of points based off of kills, but they know they've got to step up here in the final game, and they're doing just that. 6 kills now in their pockets, as somehow Team 7's still alive. Ray, the last one here, and that nade is beautiful. We'll get the final knock onto Team 9 as Team 10 still making their way on this ridgeline, trying to see if they can get some more kills here, but good positioning from Team 5 to make them hard to dig out.
The circle's closing in right now, and the rest of Team 5 starting to run out of options. It looks like they're actually going to break away from Team 10, play under the bridge, try to come in from the waterfront. So now with the circle closing in, you can kind of see there on the mini-map, 3 took one of the coastlines. Team 11 has another coastline, and Teams 10 and 5 sharing the one that has the little bit of compound the dock here.
Team 5 made a great play to go to the coastline here, but they We're just a little bit too exposed to the other side of the river, and now here goes Team 10 just cleaning it up. 18 kills. Can we get another one? Sure, why not? Make it 19. Can they break the 20 wall here as Team 5 trying to stay alive? Evil Eyes goes down. Dad Venture, the last one up, and no, Team 5 has been dismantled. Team 10 just adding to their kill count now as we see this absolutely insane final circle, and of course it falls on Team 10.
I mean, at this point, this is going to be range fighting with blue walls, and Team 11 and 3 are really punishing each other. I think Team 10 just needs to keep their heads down and out of sight, and this is going to be a guaranteed victory. And my question is, how many points are they going to get off, and is it going to be enough to climb Misha? Because they have 21 kills right now. The potential to be a 30-plus point game for them.
Oh boy. We'll see if they can finish this one off. 21 kills. Team 3 is just getting picked apart right now. From the zone, from bullets, they are done. One player left from Team 11, and you can see the swimming is going swimmingly, but it's not going to be enough. Team 10 gets a huge final game, and has it been enough? Will they surpass Team Misha to take over first place? I think they may have done enough, Clover.
I think so too, and with that, boo-yah, big victory there for that team. And I mean, you know, I really think back to the very first game today. We had that match, right, where they had just kind of that little compound up in the late game, and they kind of got sandwiched between two different squads, and it fell apart really quickly for them. And then I think we saw a couple of other times they found themselves sandwiched, and it looks like they were able to shake that off and kind of restructure as a team and play so amazing. So congrats to everybody for a job well done, not only for that squad, but for all of the people who participated in today's event.
Absolutely. It's been nothing but excitement from the very first game, from the very first drop. These guys have just been getting involved in fights early, mid, and late game, and just putting on an absolute show for us and for all you fans watching from home. Huge performance. I'm very excited to see what our final leaderboards are going to look like. I don't know about you, Clover, but nothing more exciting than a team making a run in the very final game of the day.
Absolutely. And you know, I mean, we were saying before that match, it was really close between quite a lot of squads. So regardless of how many points that team put down, I still think there's going to be a lot of movement on the leaderboard. Kind of just want to see, right? I mean, not only just for price, but for clout, how well everybody did, as we will have that here in just a little bit.
Clout is the reason for the season, as well as 5K diamonds. But we are going to throw it over to our hosts and analysts to wrap up this day of exciting games. But once again, I have been Porosaurus. Joining me has been Clover. Thank you so much for letting us cast these phenomenal games, and we'll see you next time. But hosts, analysts, Toffees, Hypoc, tell us all about today's games.
Thank you very much. I thought he was going to say how my world got flipped, turned upside down. My name's Toffees. I'm joined by Hypoc. We're back for the last segment of the day. And Poro's right. Clover's right. It's about cloud. It's about getting that 5,000 diamonds, Dimas. Say what you want. The reality is it goes in that bank account and it turns into skins and whatever else you want to get your hands on. Congratulations to them. I'm going to go, as we get ready for highlights, Hypoc, I'm going to give a little braggadocio for the two of us here. At the start of the day, we picked teams. You picked Team 9, which was Maxim, to get some wins. I picked 10, which was Clue, and 11, which is Lokita. I was cheating a little bit, picking 2. All 3 of our picks got at least 1 booyah. So out of 6 games, that's pretty good numbers. That said, let's look back at the last match. Let's see exactly how it was that Clue got that win, because you know what time it is, Hypoc? You know what time it is?
I think it's maybe highlights.
Highlights!
You were waiting for a better setup than that, surely.
Yeah, I accepted it. I liked it. It was good. I mean, you know, you're the brain, right? Like you don't have to yell. You bring presence with your presence alone.
Well, presents. Speaking of presents, the last game, a real gift to us, Steve.
Truly,
I know you'd like that setup there.
What a way to wrap this event, right?
It really was. I mean, it's not often really you see a team able to farm the circle in the way that happened in that previous game. And again, it's a testament in itself to rack up that many kills. And look, actually, we're going to jump straight into the overall leaderboard. Steve. Take a look at that.
So that is it. You see it right there. The reality is Team Clue had an amazing last match. They were hunting for kills and looking for those points. And in doing so, they end up with 87 points overall. They get the ultimate booyah. They get 5,000 diamonds added to their accounts. And most importantly, as you heard our caster say, IPOC, they get the bragging rights because they came out and they threw down when they had to.
Which is just as important, right? That's always the secondary prize, but really the one that feels a little bit better. And I'm glad Clover touched on it as well towards the end there, where we're talking about, yes, there's possibility for movement, but the kill count alone, Steve, there, crazy. But to then double down on that and pick up the placement points to boot, I mean, just sealed the deal. It's an amazing way to close out today's series.
Absolutely. And honestly, I think it was like 22, 23, some ridiculous kill count. And that
25?
is different.
I think.
25.
Yeah.
So that is more than the difference in points between first and second.
Exactly.
So if they had not come out and put those numbers down, left it all on the field, and that's it. I don't care if it's Free Fire. I don't care if it's another esport. I don't care if it's traditional sports. Any coach I've ever met in my entire career will say, you never walk off the field knowing you left something. You didn't leave everything out there. And Team Clue came out. They left their blood, sweat, and tears out there on the field, and they earned this victory. And I'm glad to see it. Congratulations to them. Sure. All right, so let's look at some others. We got Misha. That is our hodgepodge team. They got put together from opens, a solo open, and they got second. And they did it in a way that is shockingly strong.
Yeah, no, and again, it's great to see them perform like this. Unfortunately, just falling short in the final game, but you can't really account for a team coming out and doing what Team Clue did. But take nothing away. It's great to see them be the team to come through. They're almost the ragtag group thrown together, makes it through the open qualifiers, and they play second overall. So an achievement in itself, Steve.
Absolutely. So big one for them. Team 3 was Andrew's. Team Andrew, that was Dad Venture's crew. They got third. They played solid, consistent Free Fire, and it got them up to a pretty good spot. So excited to see that. Steffi, Maxim, Hayato, and everyone else down below that. Now, I promised you guys that we would see something that you've been waiting for a while, and that is the code in 3 parts. So let's do it right now. This is the code for the new Sneaky Clown skin. You can enter that right now in game and get access to a brand new cover for the gun. And I also know that we are going to be having an interview coming up here very shortly. So stick around. I believe we'll be talking with Dad Adventurer. Dad Venturer. It's a tough one to say, but once you get it, I really dig it. And we're going to chat a little bit about the game and the event in general and maybe his time in Free Fire. And we'll go from there. But I also want to take this chance while we wait for him to sort of get ready for the interview. I want to remind you guys that tomorrow is the peak of anniversary. Tomorrow is a very big day. Lots of giveaways, including some character claims that you can make. So I'm going to walk you real quick. We're giving away Thiva for free. That is a character designed to look like Mike, the DJ. You can open up Free Fire, go to the main menu, and click the 4 button on the top right to enter the special interface. From there, you're going to click on Login Reward, and you'll be able to claim Thiva only tomorrow. It's literally the only day you can get your hands on this character for all time, and it will be put in your inventory, and you just get to keep him. Also, we're going to be giving away Dimitri Vegas, modeled after it's Dimitri modeled after the DJ who's also been working with us on this anniversary project. Same idea. Play games of Free Fire Battle Royale and survive for a total of 44 minutes. So put this in your head tomorrow. Schedule yourself about an hour and a half because you know you're going to die. It is what it is. You need 44 minutes of survival time. Then head to the announcement sections of the game. It's on the right side of that main menu, and you're going to, in there's a thing that'll say, welcome to the newcomers. Go into that section, and once you do the challenge, you will be able to redeem that character and have them to use whenever you want. So free characters, always very cool. And that's something that this game has done that's a little bit different than what I've seen in past Battle Royales, Hypoc. The characters have like skills, and they can be very impactful to the game. In particular, we saw one in the form of that time turner that had such a massive impact, and I think it kind of added a whole new element to Battle Royale for me. I love it.
It did, yeah, and I was really interested to see some of the different applications of that, some of the different ways in which certain teams leaned on that. Again, that's interesting to see as part of that rotation phase, which obviously is one of the most action-packed parts of any Battle Royale, to see another variable added to that. So yeah, it was definitely one of the highlights for me.
It is. There's a lot of things that we've seen Granite Free Fire do, like even the glue walls that have been really sort of game change and a lot of fun to watch. But I heard that Dadventurer is ready to chat with us, so let's go now to an interview with our third place captain from Team 5 or Team Andrew, depending on how you want to call it. It is the intrepid Dadventurer. Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us here.
Hey, thanks for joining. We had a blast, and we got third. I just found that out just since now that you told me because I was getting ready for this. But we're happy with third. We'll take it.
Awesome. So I will start with something very easy, and I'm curious about last time that we had a North American Free Fire event. It was that All-Star Challenge. You were in this chair. What's it like going from the watching position to the pressure of playing in this is not a bum match. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I sweat a lot more because there's a lot more nerves trying to play. And listen, I'm 42, so staying up with these young guys is always stressful. So I like both sides of the camera and the game, but it was definitely a fun experience playing with my team.
Awesome. Hi, Puck.
Great stuff. Thanks for joining us. Well, congratulations on the top 3 placement as well. I guess for me, the biggest learning would be you guys looked as if you kind of adopted a certain strategy in game. What was the actual game plan coming in? You know, was there a team huddle but ahead of time to decide that, or?
Well, we kind of went in emergency mode. We had a guy that had school on the West Coast, so he actually came in during the last game. So he was one of our starters. So we had to pull in some guys that I know are amazing streamers, great at the game. One guy's got like 70,000 kills in the game. So we were able to do well. I think we wanted to push a little harder, get more kills, but we kind of played the strategy. Let's position ourselves. We had some bad starts, and then trying to work our way back from that is always difficult. I thought we did well, placing well. Didn't get as many kills as we wanted, but the placement we couldn't help. You know, third place finish we'll take with some really bad starts.
Yeah, but your consistency was strong, and that's one of the most important things in Battle Royale. So I'll leave the game-centric questions to Hypoc, and I'm going to pivot us back to a little bit of a personal experience. You keep talking about how old you are and all your promos and stuff. You're not that old. I'm right there with you, and so is Poro. We won't talk about it, though.
Yeah.
But I've got a 3-year-old, a 6-year-old. Both of them are starting to get into gaming. So talk to me a little bit about what it's like to sort of, I don't know, have a game that you share with, you said your son who's 13. As a dad myself, that's got to be pretty cool to share something like that.
I mean, it's pretty cool. So the first 2 games, my son was on my team, Flamecarver. He's actually an influencer with Free Fire. So I was playing he's now 14. He turns 15 in like a week. And like, listen, I'm getting him to do the dream, right? Play video games all over the world with these amazing athletes. And I'm going to play with my son. You can't make that. This Free Fire allows an experience that I haven't been able to have with any other game, was just playing with my family at this high level. And so I'm enjoying it while I can. And it's been awesome.
That is amazing. Hypoc, any last questions before we let Dadventure get back to hanging out with his son or just enjoying that third place afterglow?
Hey, I guess for me, no bias, but team MVP. Who you put up as the captain?
Of my team, for sure, I think Shavar just brings a skill that's a very high level. I can think you saw Shavar delivered a lot of kills throughout the game. He just knows the game. He's a grandmaster player. And so I think when you look at our MVP for today, for our third place squads, I would say it was Shavar. Yeah.
Nice. And then let me follow up with this. I want to give you a chance to plug anything, anyone, anything you need to, whether that's throw some shout outs to the teammates and maybe their tags over on TikTok or Twitter or whatever, or yours. Get a chance to address the fans out there and let them know what's going on.
Right. Yeah. I'm super excited to play with these guys that I know and love as streamers. So give some love to K&D Shavar, to Evil Eyes, to BZ Gaming, awesome streamers. My son, he'll say if he was here, he'd say sub to Flamecarver. He's Flamecarver, Flamecarver 61. And of course, I love my fans, my virtual family. You guys are what makes this game experience amazing for me. Thank you for supporting me, Dadventure, and all what I do. And I look forward to seeing you here a little bit live on my stream after this.
I gotta tell you, I love that you said he would say sub too, because mine is 6, and I can hear him upstairs talking to fake fans sometimes, being like, "Hit that sub button." So it's definitely some cultural moments. I do want to give you a shout out personally, guys. You can find him on Facebook at Dadventurer61. I believe that is correct. Yeah, and you can go there, watch his streams, get some follows. You deserve it. You seem like an awesome guy, and I love how much you love Free Fire and everything that is done for you, because that is very, very cool. As a community member, it's neat to see. So thank you so much. Great performance, and I can't wait to see what you guys bring in the future.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
No problem. All right. That was a great interview. Also, it's kind of cool to just hear that story. Like the fact that his son was playing with him for the first 2 games, that's cool, man.
Hey, I wish I'd known that coming into them, to be honest.
real.
Again, emergency on the night, but nice to see it. Again, a little family affair, at least, within that team environment.
I mean, that's like a dream come true. Like, I joke with friends, like we have, Sims, the Halo caster, and a few others that we know that have started to have kids, and we're like, we'll have a squad one day. They're gonna rule esports. But it never occurred to me to be on the squad with them. Genius, absolutely genius. Well, guys, that's it. We have crowned a champion. We have told you tomorrow is all of the free giveaways, so make sure you're over there following Free Fire on social media as well as logging in to collect your cool stuff tomorrow. Before I log out, I love final thoughts. It's like my favorite thing in the world. And while I would wish that Poro and Clover could be here for those final thoughts, I've got Hypoc. Give me your last thoughts before we sign out for the day.
I think we got a really interesting taste into what Battle Royale might look like within North America for Free Fire. And it's an exciting prospect, Steve. I'm glad, obviously, we were able to share this together. Obviously, me, you, Poro, and Clover as well. And overall, just a really, really fun evening of Free Fire. Enjoyed it.
Had an absolute blast. And I want to give a shout out to Clue and Misha, the team 10 and 12.
Yes, yeah.
First off, T4MFC was our influencer. He did a great job putting a good team together and just playing out of their minds. But I gotta show love to Misha. This is a team, again, they came in as solo qualifiers from an open event. They got put together at the last minute, and they still came out and got second. And honestly, would have won this entire thing if Clue hadn't gone out of their freaking brains at the end of that last match with 25 kills. So kudos to them. Kudos to everyone who played. Thank you so much to Green of Free Fire for putting this on and having us here to share the anniversary with them. We hope you guys had as much fun as we did on all of our behalf. Hypoc, myself, Porosaurus, Clover, and the entire production team. Thank you so much for spending your evening with us. We know you have options. The fact that you're here means the world. And until we see you again, play more Free Fire.
shouldn't touch. You got a no touching sign. I feel like I shouldn't run. You're blocking the exit with your life. Addicted to light, center, always in the limelight. Show ya a real good time. Oh, I know you got something else for me. Like secret language, speaking in tongues. Snake like tongue tied, you on the run. Travel, dancing, I don't know what you are, you are, you are, you are. Summer, floating over my heart. We're both dancing over the dark side. I don't know who you are, you are, you are, you are. We got letters sprinkled all over your body. If I join up the dots, it makes me feel naughty. I feel like I shouldn't touch. You got a no touching sign. I feel like I shouldn't run. You're blocking the exit with your life. Touching sign. You're blocking the exit with your life.